Testing, testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. All right, everyone. Welcome back to another Friday Night Live here at Christ-Centered Ironworks. Hopefully everyone's doing really well this evening. I am just about as happy as Skittles on a rainbow. I really am today. But no particular reason, just having an extra sparkly day. Ready to get into a new project, have a lot of fun. I'll show you what that project is before we go over the materials and all the other whole 9 yards. We're going to be working on a decorative hacksaw frame over the next couple weeks, if you would say. Over the next few live streams anyhow, 3 to 4 live streams. I'm hoping to get this hacksaw frame completed and done. That way I can have a small hacksaw in the shop. Now, this particular hacksaw frame, we're probably not going to get to this size here. I just drew it a little larger than life so you could see it from the camera from a distance. But this is the general principle. I almost said general princess. Here's the general princess right here. I'm all about them extra sparkles today, and all right, I swear, I'm not on NyQuil, and no, I haven't had coffee, but I'm getting close. Anyways, so yeah, it's going to be a very it'll be a basic but beautiful hacksaw frame, hopefully, when we get done. And I hope everybody has enjoyed their week so far. I know I have. I've gotten a lot of work done, which is good. Always takes a little bit of weight off my shoulders when I can do so. I still got a whole bunch more to go, but that's life as a full-time blacksmith here. Also, real quick, thanks to, it changed, Gordon Farmer from Gordon Farmer Forge. It's funny, I found out that when people super chat on the scheduled live stream amount, like where it's scheduled, if you go and you hit set reminder, you can actually drop a super chat prior to the live stream ever going live. Well, when you do that, it actually changes, no matter what day that's on, it actually changes the light in the shop. So I'll have to watch out for that once I install flux cannons in the shop, because I'll have a few of you jokesters, it'll be like midweek, I'll be right in the middle of something important and poof, get hit with some flux. I'll have to keep them unloaded. Yeah, exactly. So thank you for the super chats, Gordon. Greatly appreciate it, brother. And everyone who's shown up so far. Who all will we have, Jess? And I'll go into the spew of what we'll be giving away this evening, throughout the evening, and go from that.
Sure. First, thank you to Just Gonna Get Better. Said, let's get this started. That was the blue super chat. And of course, Yamez at Island Metal Forge, who says, attention, smoosh that like button and like that smoosh button.
That's right.
Yeah, so we have people from all over. I'm seeing people like to drop when they first get started, or when we first get started, rather, where they're from. We got people in here from Texas, Michigan, the UK, a few more from Texas. Chris Dixon says, try living in the UK. It's constantly damp over there. Todd Patterson, listening from Texas. Paul says, the forge is hot. Yes, it is.
Very hot. It's just over there, out of frame. Till I can get a slightly wider camera angle. Got to get a new lens, and I'll be able to do that.
So yeah, we got a lot of our regulars too. Possum Sausage is here, Sister Donut Forge, Just Gonna Get Better, of course. Clam Smasher, hi.
Hello. All right, well, good to have everyone. We'll be giving away a 66-pound Chayo Anvil. Those of you that have been here before, you know how this works. You just have to be here and say a phrase, any old phrase, when we go to draw for the anvil. You could be just in the middle of having a conversation with somebody else in the comment section, and we may just pick you at random. So we just pick from the commenters at random. So if you want to get entered, that's how you get entered. Of course, it's way over here. Hopefully people would see that. This little 66-pound Chayo Anvil. This will make number, don't tell me, 8. Yes. This is number 8. That means 9, 10, 11, and Roy can do math. That's called 12. So that means we only have, I had to look at my fingers. We only have 4 more to go for the rest of this year. it's going to be one of those evenings. So buckle up and hold on for the ride. Yeah, so we'll be giving away one of those sometime this evening. I also have a couple unclaimed prizes from people from many, many months ago. They apparently didn't want a slitting chisel and a square punch. So we're going to re-give those away in this stream. So we'll be giving a pair of those away. Well, one each to one person. We'll also be giving away some more sticker bundles, some more sticker packs, those sort of things that you guys seen with the special Year of the Anvil sticker in it. Once in a lifetime event there. Maybe not, we'll see. Maybe the next time we do a Year of the Anvil, it'll be better anvils. Maybe I'll be like sponsored and be like driving around Ferraris and whatnot. Doubtful, don't hold your breath. Because a lot of you are going to pass out before we get there. Oh, and if we can go to camera number 2, Jess, I'm going to show these off. These came in from Keith Bear, Possum Sausage, and he made, him and a associate of his, made some flint and steels, along with a little bit of char cloth, I believe is in there. Right there. A little bit of flint, and the steel right there for a striker, flint strikers. So for those of you that like to do backwoods stuff and I don't know, or preparedness type people, we'll be giving away 2 of these during the stream. There's one, and
you want to start a campfire.
exactly, exactly. Or if you fancy yourself part Indian and are super cool with cultural appropriation like I am, go ahead. You can do that too. Just call yourself Tonto and you're ready to go. So.
The Baca Maker says Roy would never drive a Ferrari.
There you go, and there's a flint right there. So yeah, pretty awesome. Again, thank you, Possum Sausages, for sending these over. That was a great gift that we give these away. We'll have a few more of these to give away this year as well. So if you miss out this time, we'll do it again. All right, wrap that all up. You go back to the main cam. So, yeah, so that's what we've got planned. That's what we've got planned for this evening. I hope you guys will stay around, enjoy, talk amongst yourselves. We'll get in on this project. I'll put one last little note out there. We've got a storm kind of coming in from the west here, and I don't know how that'll affect the stream here in the evening. If it gets too crazy choppy or something like that, or it really starts downpouring in on the shop here, as you can see the daylight behind me, we'll just give away whatever we got to give away that's left and then call it an evening. That way, you know, we're not getting soaked and putting up a cruddy stream. That's what I was trying to think about, so yeah. All right, we good? Who else we got? Do I need to address anything before I get into measurements? No, we're good? All right,
says
sweet.
there's a lot of new names here tonight. Yeah, I noticed that Yamez when we first got started.
Yeah, so if there's a lot of new names, are you in the main cam? So, for all the new people that are here, if you haven't subscribed yet, you'll definitely want to do that and hit the bell and set it for all notifications. It might help if you actually watch a few of the videos too. That way YouTube will say, hey, this person's interested in these folks. And they'll actually send you notifications for when we go live. Another way that I suggest you do it is set an alarm clock on your phone if you want to be a part of these. And by all means, get involved in the community here on YouTube. There's a great group of guys. Any of the blue wrenches that we've got down there, any of the channel mods, they're wonderful people. That's why we selected them. They're great to hang out with. A lot of them have channels that you can go check out as well. I highly suggest that you do that. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun. I give away stuff. The main thing I like to do is do the teaching end of it. That's what a lot of the regulars come in for, is for the teaching and the instructing portion. But it's also fun to be able to give back to the blacksmithing community as well by giving away anvils and things like that. So again, and that is, you can thank all the people that were on the original, that super chatter list that started this stream with. If you didn't see that at the very beginning, we usually start with a whole list of names that's on a cycle of all of the people who've generously super chatted donations and things like that to us. They are what help buy these anvils, well, they are what buy these anvils. They are what help get these anvils shipped. They're what help to get all the other giveaway items shipped as well. So again, big thank you to everyone who's been supporting us on the regular and making this possible. So make sure to give them a hand clap in the comment section. So let's get into the measurements, shall we? Yes. Enough tomfoolery. Boom, right there. So I've got this bar laid out tentatively. Now I will go ahead and put this out there just right up front. This whole thing may be a swing and a miss. I really was short on time, so I just kind of guesstimated everything. So this isn't like I did super complex or calculated math. So if these measurements work out for me, they might work out for you. But you know, don't bet the farm on them, so to speak. So what we have going on here is I've got some marks laid out. If you're following along at home and you want to try this project yourself, the bar is 1/2 inch thick or 12.5 millimeter by 1.25 inches or 31 millimeter wide. And then it's however long, so I got a handle length here. I've got layout marks at 1 inch from the end or 25 mil. I've got from that mark back about 4.5 inches or 112.5 mil. Another mark back from that about 3.5 inches or 75 plus whatever that is, 87 mil back from there. Another inch mark, so another 25 mil. And then finally, last but not least, a 2-inch mark or 50 millimeters. So that is the layout right there. There's going to be some necking down. That's why I've done some center punch marks on both edges. This is a technique that I've done in my shop for many years now at laying out a bar so I can see it in the fire what I want to do. When I center punch mark on each side of the bar, that's where we're going to neck it down on both sides. If it's got punch marks all the way across, that's where it's going to be cut off at. If there's a punch marks in the center of the bar, like what you see here, that's where it's going to be split from. It's going to be split from here to there. And then if you see a punch mark on the edge of the bar, that's where I'm going to set down material at. So that's basically how the layout here goes. I don't know, can you see that okay, Jess? Yeah. Can everybody see that fine in the video? Okay. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get started on this. I'll get it heated up, and we can take any questions if there is any.
Manga12 said he was about 4 hours away from us, and then he said, so much for me day tripping it up there for a class. Yeah,
4 hours is a long way, one way.
That's not long. Get up here. I don't know what your problem is. That's like, psh, that's a day trip. That's not a bad day trip. Come up, spend 2-3 hours, go home. It's a long day. Not a bad day.
Zachary Yang says, hi, I'm 13 and starting blacksmithing. And that was followed by a lot of comments of people saying they wish they started at 13 because, you know, they would have a lot more time in the craft.
Yeah. And that was Zachary? Zachary. Oh, well, awesome to have you, Zachary. Congratulations on getting started on the craft while you're young. It's obviously not a prerequisite. You can have fun at any age in this craft. It's good when you can start off young because, well, you get more time in. You get to have more time before your body says, I'm an old man. Me spine. So, you know, it works out pretty good. Good to have you. Thanks for being here.
Aquamoose says it's my first live stream ever. I like it. Well, glad to have you joining us. Jody
Aquamoose.
Jody Smith says, I was shopping for an anvil today. I need a second job, maybe a third.
See, that's the problem. You were shopping for an anvil. You weren't buying an anvil today, you were shopping for an anvil today. That's the big difference. When you start shopping for an anvil, sky's the limit on price. So there's some anvils out there that put Olga to shame in size. And I would love to have those anvils. But nope, Olga was most expensive enough, and I really don't need anything bigger. unless I get it on a really good deal, and then I might get something bigger. Go on.
Oh, someone said my mic was really quiet, so you guys will have to let me know if that's still an issue. If it is, I can turn it up a little louder. Probably, yeah, I probably wasn't. Dave the Wood Barber says, I started the craft at 42. That was 3 months ago.
Whoop, whoop. Congratulations. Good to have you. It's good to hear all the new people that are just starting the craft and especially have found this channel already. That's awesome. There is a lot, if you are new here, there is a lot of helpful content on the channel. I'm not saying that just to be facetious. There really is. There's coming up on 1,450 videos here on YouTube of tutorials. All tutorials for the most part. I mean, there's a good portion of them are all tutorials. I think there's what, 200-300 videos that aren't, that they're just kind of like life type stuff, vloggy type deals, but the rest of them are all tutorials. So that's a lot of tutorials out there to help get you started. Of course, some of them are earlier on, so they were the earlier Roy, so you just have to bear with those type videos. There's also a lot of resources we have over at our website, blacksmithpdfs.com, that you can take advantage of. There's ebooks, there's power hammer plans, there's all sorts of stuff, tooling plans and bundles, and you know it. All sorts of good stuff over there at that website. When you're just getting into it, and sometimes it's hard to find the look up all the resources that are out there all at once, and your mind can go on information overload. So, but we try to make our website pretty clean and concise and helpful, to whatever you might be, whatever your interests are that you might want to take and get into. So you might want to go check that out. But at any rate, it's really cool to see all the new faces and, the new interest in the craft. And like I said, I've only been in it, what? He said 3 months?
Yeah.
3 months and you've already found the best channel on the internet. Just the best channel on the internet. Just keep saying that. Maybe it'll stick. Maybe it'll become true. Bars almost have to heat. It's not quite there yet. Since I'm going to be moving a lot of steel by hand, especially this thick of bar by hand, you want it to be really hot, like almost welding hot, like a welding heat. That's one thing if you don't have a power hammer at your own shop. Am I mistaken? I've got a moment to talk, so, okay. If you don't have a power hammer at your shop, I see a lot of guys wailing away when they're first getting started at cold steel, dark red steel. Don't do that to yourself. And that's dark red on camera, so it's basically black by the time they're wailing on it. Get that thing hotter than the face of God. Seriously. Get it hot, just right up to the point where you think you might burn it. Then bring it out and forge it. And things will go a lot smoother for you. Of course, once it gets thinner, the bars get thinner, you have to not be so heat intensive because then you can really go from forging to molten real quick. So, you do have to balance that a little bit. But when you're working on a really thick piece of stock by yourself, bring that thing up to a full welding heat. Even though you're just forging and you're not trying to weld anything, bring it up to that heat anyhow, because that steel at that point is so soft and spongy, you can really get a lot of work done just by yourself. That's it. You can talk. What's going on?
Nothing. I was just looking over the comments for Matt. We had a question and a super chat from Charming Hollow,
Awesome.
who says, Roy, do you think you would start putting a state and county as a touch mark? Like, for me, example, Berks County, Pennsylvania. Rant in 3, 2, 1. And sorry, $300 paycheck this week. Can't give more.
Hey, Hans. I just appreciate you being here, brother. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Touch mark on your state or county if you want to do that. I would find that would be helpful if you're doing something large, right? If you're doing something large scale, it's kind of like hallmarks on a gate, right? In gate work, and things like that. A lot of times you'll see in some of the more historical type stuff, you'll see things where you'll have like the main hallmark of the company, whatever the forge was. Like for yours, I'll just give you an example. Charming Hollow Forge, right? So it'll have your main shop insignia, crest, touch mark, or whatever. And then underneath that would be the head smiths that worked on it. Underneath that would be the additional people that maybe who assembled it or whatever and put their hallmarks on it. And it might be attached to a data plate somewhere else. And it might even have where it came from, right? Like where it came from your place, right? Your county, your stuff like that. And at that point, that would be pretty acceptable. Now, that doesn't work if you're making a hammer. You start touch marking all over the hammer, right? And you start getting, it starts looking gaudy. It takes away from the look or the appearance of a hammer. So regular touch mark on small stuff, I would say, you know, any sort of small, handy, pocketable type items, things that might set on a shelf. And then you can add your county and other stuff to anything big or sculptural that you might get into. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the great question. All right, this is hot enough to go to town. So, all right, we're going to take this out to our first touch mark as soon as I can see it. Boop, boop, boop. I had to flip it over. So we're sticking off about 1 inch using half on, half off blows. We're going to drive that mass down. And take that pucker out of it. So that's on the far side of the anvil. And we're doing that. Reducing our material stock thickness. Now we're going to come to the near side edge of the anvil. Try to make sure that that's the mark I want to be forging on. It is. We'll end up with something that starts to look like that. We don't have to pretty it up too much at this stage because we're going to do a lot more forging to it. Hopefully you guys can see that. There. This type of work is a real fun thing to practice your ability to gather material in the right places. You're forging, it's almost like forging practice. Practicing where your hammer blows are landing. It helps you practice hand-eye coordination. It helps you practice dividing up material stock for specific tasks. Like out here, this is going to get upset into the area that's going to take the threaded bolt and wing nut to pull the band tight. This here is going to get drawn down and reduced in thickness a lot from here on out to become our hacksaw frame body. Back here, I'm going to split it and cut it out through here, and that's going to get rolled out and become the back scroll portion for the back end of that. And so this is a great chance at this, doing things like this, even if you don't turn it into a project like we're doing here, practice using shoulders and keeping everything square and symmetrical as you do. This will really help you when it comes to things like what a lot of people struggle on. Some people who make knives or make axes, those sort of things, they require you dividing material, stock material proportion. You need mass in certain areas and you need to thin it out from others. So getting really good at boss work and good hand-eye control, hand-eye coordination and good hammer control will really help you develop yourself as a smith with whatever you want to do. Now, it's not important, it's not entirely important to, you know, clean everything up nice and tidy after every heat. This here, I've got to like really draw out a lot of material. So it's going to be kind of wonky and lumpy dumpy as we go. And then that final heat, I'm going to do a lot of planishing work to it to get everything nice and smooth. I'll do a little bit as we go along, but don't waste all your heat like we did there and let the bar get all the way back to black before you stick it back in the fire. Bring it out, get the work done. When it drops down to like a dull orange, put it back in the fire, bring it back up. That's how you can work more efficiently on a project like this. Questions, Jess? Comments?
Yes, Gordon Farmer wanted to know if there was a way of making a holder for a touch mark.
I've seen a few. The best one that I've seen so far, and I was going to make a video on this, but wasn't really quite sure how I seen it. I wanted to remember the guy exactly who showed how to make this. He was at a blacksmithing demonstration for sofa. But basically, it's like a piece of pipe that's been crushed, and it's got an eye bolt in the end of it. And out at the very end, the bolt that sticks out at the very end has a washer and a nut on it, like a wing nut. And you just tighten that up, and it pulls in a punch, and it holds it tightly. And that's what I would do for a holder for a touch mark if you're going to do something like that. I believe the guy's name was, and I may be wrong, was Marty Reisig, but I might be wrong on that one. So, anyways, neat dude, really slick setup. That's kind of what I got the most out of his demonstration. Is I really appreciated that tool he was using. I'm like, man, that's a slick trick right there. I'm like, I could use to have one of those around. One of the other things you could do, Gordon, is make a pair of tongs or designate a pair of vise grips or something that you just clamp it on and you just use it forever like that. You know, you clamp it on once and that's where it stays. You know, maybe grind you some notches in the jaw that holds it more perfectly or however you want it, right? And then clamp it down and leave it at that, right? And always use it in that capacity for that purpose. That's another way of doing it.
Another question here from Nico, who says, I'm trying to forge a machete and I have a problem holding the heavy bar of metal. Any tips?
So depends. If it's a short bar, you're going to have a lot of problems unless you just make a pair of tongs that fit it. If it's a long bar, it's a heavy bar, you need to get yourself some jack stands or blacksmith helpers or whatever that can hold it on, like what we did for the fireplace crane. I had jack stands out to take and hold the end of the bar that was really long. You could do that with stuff that's really heavy as well. If it's a short piece that you're trying to forge out and you're having problems holding it, take time to make a pair of tongs that fit that stock perfectly, and you'll have a much better go of it. All right, it's hot. Let's go back to Anvil cam, please. Now once I get this fully stretched out, it'll meet over the anvil and it'll be better. Looking good. We're almost across the anvil now. By the time I reduce the thickness, that I've gained in width there, the thickness that I've gained in this direction, by the time I reduce that, that'll fully stretch across or span across the entire anvil. And I can really get into it. What I'm looking to do, get this covered up and talk about it some more here. What I'm looking to do is I put a mark about halfway on the material thickness. I want, or the width of the material. So that 1.25 inches, I put a mark halfway in that 1.25 inch space. That's what I want to reduce this current section down to and dress the thickness back to the original parent bar stock, which is 1/2 inch or 12.5 mil. So I want to take and reduce that back to the parent bar thickness, and then I will go on and split out the rest of the bar. The reason for this being is that when I dress those two ends, part of the length of this frame is what I have to split off. I have to split off an ear that comes off, and that will be the rest. I'm losing about 3.5 inches. So I'll gain instantly 3.5 inches of bar stock once I split that. I dress everything and we'll be back good to go. So that's what I'm doing. I'm focusing on reducing this material across the anvil, and hopefully, again, if my eyeballs work out okay, we should end up with something that's fairly close to the hacksaw frame that we got here. But it'll be a little smaller. Like I said, it'll be smaller than this hacksaw just because I drew this big so this way you guys can see it from a distance. But you always have to, on something like a hacksaw frame, you need to forge, you need to start thick and forge thin when it comes to these things, because you need to have that excess mass. If you don't do that, then you have to weld or braze something on, and that's just not as handy to take and do when you have to add pieces onto something like this. You want a good, sturdy, all one-piece frame. Questions, Jess? Comments?
Yes. Thank you, K4479, for the $5 super chat.
Hey, thank you.
Said, just wanted to say thanks for all the instructions. I have to jet.
Yes, the bounce. Well, thank you very much for the super chat. Greatly appreciate it. That will help go towards the shipping for certain. So thank you, thank you. Thank you very much.
Couple of good questions also here. I'll read you one of them. Jeremiah asked, does the size of the drain in the fire pot matter for proper airflow to keep from oxidizing the steel?
The size depth or the size?
The size of the drain, or I guess the air pipe.
So the depth of the fire pot. That's what I'm assuming. The depth of the fire pot, the amount of coke that you have between the metal piece and the air grate portion matters on how much oxidization that you'll get to the steel surface. So the more of that you have, the better. But it's a balance. If you have a bunch of this and you're heating up 1/4 inch rods, you're wasting 10 pounds of coke to heat up 1/4 inch rods. That's not too handy. So a good all around is between about 4.5 to 6 inches deep is about what you want. 4 to 6 inches deep, you could say. Fire pot depth. That's a good general depth to take and help with scaling issues and things like that. Obviously, they make rivet forges and things like that where you're never going to work on stuff over 1/2 inch thick, or 1/2 inch thick rivets or something like that, or 1/2 inch bar stock, in which case you could get away with a 2 or 3 inch fire pot depth and be just fine. Great question. Let's go over the anvil.
All right.
Finish drawing out this. We'll reduce the material thickness. Reduce its cross section again. and reduces thickness. Ooh, close. One more heat ought to have it. Now I'm going to put this out here. May not be completely apparent, but you do not want to start developing a taper. You don't want this to taper from here down to here. You want this to all be the same thickness. So this is the same width as this. It's the same thickness here as it is here. You want this all to stay the same.
Got another question for you here. From Joseph Emery, says, what weight of anvil or ASO do you recommend for someone just starting?
Whatever you can get started with is always a good response to that. A good general purpose anvil that you'll find is about 100 pounds. That's a good general purpose anvil. It's light enough that you can take it around to shows or demonstrations if you feel like doing that, or over to a buddy's house. And yet it's heavy enough to do a little bit larger work. Small hammers, drifts, punches, things like that. You can get by. You can do obviously lighter. These 66 pounders are great. They do lack the mass. They are 66 pounds. This is great for taking around to shows and demonstrations, but you won't want this to be your mainstay anvil for the rest of your life. You'll want to get a heavier anvil. Once you want to upgrade, a good size anvil for most practical forging for a main shop anvil is about 200 pounds, 250 pounds. You really won't, for the most part, find a need to get anything heavier unless you want it, unless you want wider surface faces and things like that. Keep in mind, ladies and gents out there, if you get a big anvil, just like as if you get a big power hammer, there's logistics involved. So you can't set a 900-pound anvil on a 40-pound block of wood. Not going to cut it. You got to have something substantial underneath that anvil to support it. Same way like with a power hammer, right, or a press. Yet there's logistics involved. You have to wire it. You have to make sure your foundation is good enough in the case of a power hammer, right? Like you might have to dig a pit that's 6 feet deep and 6 feet wide and 8 feet long, right? Because you wanted that 500-pound Bradley strap hammer. So there's logistics, back-end logistics, not only going and getting the anvil, but then making it secure in your shop as far as a base. Whereas with a smaller anvil, you're okay with just picking up some hardware store lumber and whopping you up a base real quick, or finding a random stump that's 10 inches or 12 inches in diameter, and you can get right to smithing off that. So there are some logistical concerns that you will have to concern yourself with if you do get a very large anvil. Likewise, if you get that and you think you're going to do a lot of craft shows and demonstrations and things like that, you don't want a 500-pound anvil, as that's your only anvil that you have. If you've got one, great. I mean, I love Olga. She's 465 pounds. I wouldn't trade her for nothing. You're going to want to go out and pick you up a much smaller anvil to take and do shows and demonstrations. I did a lot of shows with a 175-pound anvil, and even at 175 pounds, and I'm a big boy, that's a lot to go trucking and haul that much weight to a show and demonstration. And after doing a few weekends, you'll be like, why am I doing this for? So it's just a little word of advice there. But if you're just getting started out and just going to tinker around at the house, 100 pounds a good size. I highly recommend these Achayo anvils, these little 66 pounders. They're like the best deal on the net right now. They're just a little over, 140 bucks. They range, sometimes they're 110, sometimes they're 175, but for a 66 pound double horn that's really nice and hard, I think when we tested that, it came out to 50 Rockwell, I believe it was, or just a little bit over 50 Rockwell. So that's really what you want, and for the price, you can't beat it. All right, what we got? Go.
Yeah. Thank you, by the way, Mule Kick Forge, for the $5 super chat.
Thank you, Mule Kick. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. All right, this is getting hot. Now we're cleaning this up because I'm about to move on to the next stage because we're to that dimension that I want. In fact, we're just a little proud of that half, the parent bar stock's width, which is okay. We can use that extra little bit of material thickness to our advantage later. So there we have it. So we got that first stage. Of course, it met across the anvil. So we can lock it on the anvil there. Now the next step in this journey is to split off. Can they see this? We're going to split this material off back to here. We're going to start just proud of this dot. We're going to start proud of the dot. That way we can have room to dress the chamfer that we're ultimately going to end up with. We're going to have this nice and square. So we're going to start on this side of that dot and run it back with a chisel. And then we will dress out that chisel mark. Make sense? Here we go.
Daniel probably wants to know how wide both the space is.
6 inches, I think. It's been a while. I'll remeasure it here. All right.
Hans says, my name is Hans. I'm addicted to collecting anvils and leg vices.
Hi, Hans. My name is Roy. I'm addicted to collecting anvils, leg vices, power hammers, forging equipment of all kinds. I'm more addicted than you. I was going to measure that. Yeah. Let's see here. We are sitting at, yep, dead on 6 inches wide. Yep. What you got, Jess? Good?
Yep. Question from a viewer a little earlier on what a good beginner forging hammer is to start with.
Good beginner forging hammer that I like to suggest is go simple for 2-pound crosspeen. In my opinion, it's one of the most versatile hammers you can get in your shop to start off with. You've got the peen, so you can do texturing with it. A lot of people get into doing leaves right off the bat, so doing leaves and putting leaves on the end of things. A crosspeen's a good place to start. 2-pound because you really don't want anything super heavy. My crosspeen hammer that I use all the time is a 1 3/4-pound crosspeen. That's my daily driver for basically everything. And as you can see, it can move, 1 1/4 by 1/2 inch thick steel fairly readily, with proper hammer control and striking and stuff. But yeah, that would be my suggestion. A 2-pound crossbeam would be a good starting place for just about anybody. Some people like rounding hammers. That's perfectly acceptable, but they do lack features that the crossbeam has. So get a range if you're unsure. One of the big things to do is make sure that the edges are alleviated on the hammer. You don't want to have any sharp edges or diagonal banks or anything like that. You want it to have nice, smooth radius edges. If you feel your thumb, feel the surface of your thumb. That's how you want the edges of your hammer to feel. If they feel like the surface of your thumb, that's a good rule of thumb. Wink. It's a good rule of thumb that you can use.
Next question comes from Colt, who says, I don't have a proper anvil yet, but how would you draw out material on the anvil horn? Is there a trick to it or different techniques?
Does not have a proper anvil horn or anvil?
He doesn't have an anvil yet, but he's curious how you draw out material
On the horn. Basically, you want to use the fattest portion of the horn. You don't want to get trapped into going way out to the tip of the horn. There's not enough support underneath it. You want to use it up near the step of the anvil if you're working with a London pattern, or if it's on a German pattern anvil like what I've got here, you're just working up to the square end, basically, working up close to the body of the anvil. Basically, when you're drawing material out, you're using the bottom curvature of that horn as a fuller. It's like a big giant fuller, and that's what's helping you pull or extrude out that material a lot easier. There's another method that you can use if you've got really soft edges on your anvil, like really radiused edges on your anvil, either by default or because somebody did it that way. You can use the edges of your anvil similarly like a fuller, like a bottom fuller, to pull the material out. That's my least favorite way of drawing out material. Out of all of them, it goes without saying that it is more of an efficient way of drawing out material because it's a sharper fuller. It's a more aggressive fuller than what the horn of the anvil would be. But if I have something where I need to have a more aggressive fuller, I just put a radius block in the hardy hole of the anvil and I draw out over that. But great question. All right. This is almost hot, but before it's there completely, I think we should give something away. Sound like a plan?
Does sound like a plan.
All right. We're going to give away a flint and steel starter set here for one lucky winner. All you got to do is comment down below. It could be pick me, it could be yippee, it could be whatever, and we will give away. Someone's going to comment whatever. Just thought about it. I just said that. Somebody's going to do that. Funny little people. So we're going to give this away to one lucky person here in the live stream. And all you have to do is once you win, if you win, you have to get through the contact link in the description down below and contact us, and we will get this shipped out for you. Are we ready? Yeah. Let's do it, quick. And the winner is?
The winner is Colt Sturzing, who says, thanks for answering my question. That helps a lot.
You're welcome, Colt Sturzing, and congratulations. You won this great little flint and steel starter pack here, made by Possum Sausage. Congratulations. And we will give away something else here in just a little bit after I do my job and start getting this thing cut without burning it. That would be good. All right, we ready? And go to the anvil. All right. So I'm going to focus on that cut. Like I said, just being outside the outside edge of that cut. And I'm going to start hacking away at this. I want to maintain a straight line. You don't want to get a bunch of double cuts. Let the glove cool for a second. It's bound to get hot. Can you all see that okay? Well, they can't see the cut, can they? I'll just go a little further. I could do this in one heat, but I'm going to take a second heat on it. That way you guys can see what's going on. Can they see that?
Yeah.
So I'm cutting halfway down through the bar. I'm going to cut halfway down through, and then I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to go ahead and trace that back. Just kind of eyeball it. So I'm going to cut it down through the other half. That's going to help reduce the amount of angle that I get, bevel on my cut. So this is a little cold now, but I'll give it a little bit more of a cutting. There you have it. We'll get that hot again.
Very good. Thank you guys for the super chats that are coming in. I have to jump over pages to read them. Wiley Rook Bladeworks says, after these messages, we will be right back. The chat finally slowed down again, huh? So you could read through. J. Ray, thank you for the super chat, says thank you for all the great instructional videos. You've inspired me to move away from just knife making.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. Glad I could convert somebody else away from the dark side of smithing.
And Skip Watson says thanks for the great info.
Very welcome. So thank you everyone for the super chats. Greatly appreciated, and they do help. So while we wait for that to heat back up, let's give away a couple sticker packs while we're at it. I don't know what time we are. What time are we?
5:55.
What time are we? Blah, blah, blah. Huh? 5:55. So we're doing pretty good. We got like a whole another hour. Of course, we started late. So good. We'll see how far we get. Again, I've got an anvil to give away. I've got a lot of other stuff to give away. So we'll just work on those. So we're going to give away some sticker packs. We can go to camera number 2, Jess. Show off those pretty little things. This is what you'll be receiving here in the mail, made by the wonderful Dana Maggiore. Thank you, sir, for the stickers that we could give away. It's got the coveted Year of the Anvil sticker in there. Can't ask for better than that. A new one that he sent to us, plus our classic ones right there that can get you in all sorts of trouble if you stick them somewhere that they're not supposed to be. Because once they're stuck, they're stuck. Once they're sticked, they're stuck. That's what we should call it. Oh, all right, we can go back to the main cam, Jess. Are we there? Are we at the main cam? All right, she's all right. She's on it. She's on it today. Good to go. Good to go. All right, let's draw a name out of the randomness of people. Words are hard. They're hard to do. Too hard for me today. Who do we got?
We have Demonic Gaming Dragon who says, I love stickers.
Hey, well, congratulations. Get with us in the contact link down below, and we will send you some stickers there. Ready?
1 second. Okay, go ahead.
And go. Who do we got?
All right, we have Smoop Daloop who says, stick a sticker on my anvil.
Hey, well, guess what? You've got 4 of them you can stick on your anvil. Go ahead and get with us in the contact link down below, and send us your info, and we'll get them shipped out to you. Thank you for playing along with this session of The Price is Right. Free!
Just a brief reminder about language in the chat. Please keep it G-rated because we do have quite a few people who join us under the age of 18.
Yep. And also, YouTube has bailed out on that, and they've basically put that on the creators to police their comment sections and things like that. So if you don't block bad actors and you don't mute people who are sprouting profanities, which is against YouTube's terms of services, it can all be held against your channel. So, yeah, so if you don't want to get blocked and don't want to be muted or anything like that, watch the comments. Keep it like you would talk to your grandma. Unless your grandma swears like a sailor, then someone else's grandma. All right, ready? You got the anvil? All right, nice and hot. Continue to split this bar off. Missed it. Missed it because the glove's getting hot. If you just love tap it on the back side, a lot of times the chisel will eventually find the groove of the front part that you cut off without you having to do a whole lot of figuring or finding, which is super helpful. We're working through the piece.
Is there multiple types of saw frames that the similar type processes could be applied to?
Yep. Big hacksaws, small hacksaws. You can add ornamentation to them. I'm doing a really basic frame here, but you could do them where they've got like ornamentation on the top of them. You can do stuff where they've got acanthus leaves and all sorts of fanciness. You could do it where they, this part here actually like comes out and like bends back and makes another one of these on the end. So it's very similar. You can do a lot of the same things. The pre-setup work, like what I'm doing right now, will be the same in a lot of those cases. And then what you do to it afterwards will either be done with a file, a punch, a chisel, or whatever to peel out different parts of the saw frame that you want. Usually file work is a good way of adding a lot of ornamentation after you've got the main framework done. Yeah, there's a lot of ornamentation you can do, a lot of different saws that you can make out of this basic format. There's also one that you can make that's a spring formed saw. This uses a tensioning nut and bolt situation going on here, but you could actually make this to where it comes around and it just has a basic end on it. And the way that you would insert the blade is you press on the saw frame and the frame bends ever so lightly, allows you to put your blade on, and then when you let your body weight off, it tensions it automatically. So there's those type of saw frames that you can do too. The tensioning on those are a little bit more difficult to get right from what I've been told. I have not made any of those, so you know, you don't have to necessarily take my word as the gospel on it, but I have been told that those are kind of difficult to get the tension just right, because if you're too thick, if the frame of your hacksaw is too thick, it's not going to bend. If it's too thin, it'll bend too much and it won't hold enough tension into the actual saw piece itself. What we got going on, Jess?
Dave, the wood barber, 2 pounds. This is for the swear jar. Preemptive, just JK.
For the what?
The swear jar.
For the swear jar. Oh, thank you. For the timeout, yeah. Well, see, that's a funny thing about cussing in a comment section. See, you actually have to, like, there's one thing if you drop a cuss word when you stub your toe in the middle of the night or just in random conversation, but it's a whole thing entirely when you go on a cussing tirade in someone's comment section, because you have to think about the words and type them out. Like that's the big thing. Like you actually get to review everything that spewed out of your mouth before you hit send. I don't think people do that. I think people use voice on the phone, blah, 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 talk like they normally would, and then they just post the ignorant straight away and don't think to look back across maybe what they said didn't make intelligible sense. or maybe made too much sense and they need to go take a Xanax or something, go calm down somewhere, right? Like I have been guilty of that, not in the cussing side of things, just be a little bit more on the brr side of things, and just the way I was commenting or whatever came across as me being a jerk. So internet, human beings were just not meant to be on the internet. I'm pretty sure of that, like just in general. I wasn't meant to be on there, you weren't meant to be on there, but we are all foul, you know, we are all just messed up together, aren't we? All right here online. Bunch of happy weirdos. And not so happy weirdos. There's those too.
We also had another super chat from Elijah Roush, who says, thanks for the content. My dad, Bar Run Forge, and I love watching your videos.
Hey, hey, good to have you. Glad you guys like it. Very much appreciated. We're ready, we're getting hot. Thank you for the super chats. Greatly appreciated. Here we go. Go to cutting. Maybe if I get lucky, it'll start splitting right in two. Hot tamale, hot tamale. I don't want to go too deep with it because I don't want to hit the anvil with the chisel, clearly. But I want to go deep enough. Seems to be working pretty good. Now this would be where it'd be nice to be able to stand this up in the vise. It's not going to work in this specific scenario. It'd be nice if I could stand this up in the vise and bend this up out of the way and then just chisel straight down through that, get a little nicer cut that way. But on this particular piece, I'm just going to have to keep chiseling from both sides until I cut the webbing loose. Again, I'm being very careful not to cut all the way down to the anvil top. I'm just pushing that webbing around right now at this point, and eventually I will get that to fracture off. All right, one more time cold here. I might have to get it hot again. I was hoping it would fracture, but it did not. So one more quick heat on it, and I think that'll have that cut. But you guys can see how much length we gained by cutting that. So don't be fooled. Don't get too drawling out here. You might end up with a 22-inch long hacksaw before you get done with it.
While we're at the anvil cam also, a couple of questions about if you're using a special type of chisel and what metal your hammer is that you're using there on this chisel.
Okay, great. So the chisel that I am using, this is a H13 slitting chisel that I made, that I forged. That's what type I'm using. It's a little over an inch. It's about 1.25 inches wide. It's got a fairly thin profile on it, blade profile, so it cuts pretty efficiently. And I'm hitting it with a mild steel hammer. So this is just a soft hammer. There's no hardness in this. It's just a soft face hammer is what I'm hitting it with. I do that, so this tool, H13, it's basically all hardened. The whole thing is kind of just all one hardness level. So you don't want to hit a tool like this with a hardened face, because if the hardness of your tool is higher than the hardness of the face of your hammer, you're going to leave a bunch of dents all over your hammer face. Circumvent that, get yourself a soft hammer, just made out of a block of mild steel, and now it doesn't matter if it dents your face all the heck and back. So, yep. So that's what I'm using.
Another question for you. Can you make a chisel from rebar?
Yes, you can make the chisel from a certain type of rebar. I had a piece of rebar, not sure what it was. I got every every type of rebar there was under the sun, basically told to me. I did a video of on rebar, if you can harden it and things like that. And this particular type of rebar you could. So you just have to test it to see if it's got carbon in it. Do a spark test on it. If it's got a bunch of little like short fiery cracker things, then it'll be a hardenable type of rebar. Quench it in oil first and see, you know, forge something out thin on it. Quench it in oil and see if it hardens. Take a look at the grain structure. Make sure it's really nice fine grain structure. And then if it is, then harden and temper like you would in oil. If it doesn't do that, if it's got kind of long sparks with little cracks on the end, it's just mild steel, and it's not going to do you any bit of good to make a chisel or a punch out of it.
David Kallenbach asks opinions on cast iron anvils, even just to learn on.
Great, if you're just learning on them, use them. Long run, forged steel, I'm a fan of all forged solid steel anvils. This anvil here is not a cast anvil, it's a forged anvil, so it's all one forging. Well, it's actually multiple pieces, but it's a forged steel anvil. I like those best. Some people don't like those. They like cast steel anvils. Cast iron anvils are soft, so they're going to be kind of dead when you use them, and then the surface isn't going to hold up. It's going to be like the soft face hammer, right? As long as you work stuff super hot when you work on it and stop beating on it once it gets cold, you know, it'll last for a period of time. Again, if you're just beginning, the odds are you're going to be swinging wildly. You're going to have a lot of missed blows. You're going to have a lot of stuff that would damage a good anvil. So if you're working with a cruddier anvil to start with, there's no shame in that. That helps you get all that practice in of, you know, learning to hit your mark and things before you move up to an anvil that, a piece of history or something that you're going to damage right out the gate. So go back to the anvil, Jess. There we go. Finally popped. Put a little plate of steel up there. Got that split to split off. That come out about right. You cut it back just a wee further. From this side, even that split up. Hopefully you guys can see that. Look all right? Yeah. So now there's two ways you can address the rag here. You can hot rasp it off if you have the excess material, or you can forge it back in. If you have a lot of rag material, like a lot of like loose, noodly type rag, you don't want to forge it back down. Right now I've got a really short chisel mark with not a ton of rag. There's a little sharp ridge here, but it's not too bad. So I can get away with forging that back into the piece and it be okay. Do not do that if you have, again, rag that's lapping over itself, right? Like it's folding over itself a time or two or something like that. File that off before you move on with your next step, because it will show up in your final piece.
Dallas asked if you are still liking the 55-gallon barrel storage or if there's anything you would change about it.
55-gallon what?
Your metal storage barrel.
Metal storage barrel.
Yeah, you think
Huh? I'm not sure. Oh, for the steel.
Yes.
Okay, more context. You're like, metal barrel, storage barrel. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, yeah, I'm still liking it. It still sits over there. It holds everything nicely. Of course, it's got a hole on the bottom of it, so it drains if there's any weather, wet weather gets into it. Yeah, it's a good way of holding stock. Takes up less space if it's held vertically, so I do like that. I do like that element of it. But yeah, hasn't went nowhere. It ain't crawled out of the shop, so it's still heavy.
Blacksmith says the shop looks amazing and he wants to know if we built it.
No, did not build it. Been working on it though. So this was built back in, the official record for it was back in the 1960s, I guess it was, early 1960. Like 1962 or something like that, this was built. But the beams that are in here are from a much older structure. So the actual beams are hewn. There's 60-foot long beams that are solid. I want to say they're 10-inch square, 10, almost 12-inch square-ish, all the way for 60 feet. No taper to them whatsoever. So finding trees that size is, wouldn't have even been common in the 60s. So that's much older. It hints to a much older structure than that. But I guess they probably relocated to here and built it here. Probably took it down from somewhere else and then built it here instead. Great question. All right, this is almost hot. Or it's basically there. So we're going to go ahead and take this heat. Okay? All right, so now we need to give ourselves a little bit of space. So I'm going to hammer on this. Try to get that thing to get out of the way. Basically giving ourselves a courtesy bend. By giving ourselves a courtesy bend, it allows us to get in at the rest of this piece. I'll probably still have to clean up the transition in here with a file or something of the like, but that's okay. So you guys can see how that's working. So now I can go ahead and finish forging this part here to final dimension. I can get that now that I got this leg out of the way. Again, I'll have to hit back here right in the crotch of this with a file because there's not really a good way of getting in there. So I'll have to clean that up with a file. Good?
Yep.
Questions?
Yeah, any questions for turning a train track into an anvil?
Train track into anvil. Wear hearing protection. Suggestions. I've seen guys bulk them up quite a bit. I've seen guys add a bunch of steel to them, things like that to try to add mass. I would just do the standard, if it was me making one, I would just cut the anvil, cut a horn on it, grind it to shape, and cut a tail in it and just leave it like that and use it as is. You want to avoid small anvil, small rail track type stuff, really tiny, just because it's not as handy as getting like some of the really substantial stuff that's out there is a little bit better for forging an anvil out of, or making an anvil out of, I should say. So that would be my only advice on that. When you start slapping in steel and dropping 12 pounds of welding rod and things like that, it's no longer a rail track anvil at that point. It's just kind of a cobbled together mess. And you're going to ruin some of the temper that's in it and everything else by doing all that welding and the preheating and stuff like that. You're asking for a lot more into it than that. Some guys don't even use a horn at all. They just literally cut them a section nice and square and use that, and that's fine. There's other ways of getting around having a horn. You can get a bick. It goes in the anvil surface or can be gripped in a vise to take and bend things around. You don't necessarily need a horn to do that. Ultimately, what ends up happening is most people always upgrade from the railroad track anvil, and they progress to a really crummy looking anvil that should probably be a boat anchor somewhere. Then they progress from that to a really nice anvil, might be smaller than what they want, and then they progress from that to maybe the brand new anvil someday if they stay in it long enough. So there's always kind of that progression. It's not always true for everyone. Not everybody progresses like that. Some people are just happy with the railroad track anvil, and that's fine. But for the most part, usually there's kind of like that natural progression. So spending a ton of time into your first anvil and money trying to avoid the cost of buying a real anvil isn't really worth it. You think you're skirting the cost to get into it, and you're really not. So if you can find a piece of rail track for cheap, sure, pick it up. Cheap and legal, I should say. That's the other thing. Not always is people's means of collecting rail tracks for anvils not nefarious. So find it legal, find it cheap, and it can make a good anvil. Don't put a ton of time into it.
The Rock and Max says, what is your opinion on ductile iron anvils?
A lot of anvil questions. People are all sorts of stuff. Ductile iron anvils, again, they are what they are. They are priced to a certain marketplace. I would not spend hundreds upon hundreds of dollars on a ductile iron anvil. I would use a ductile iron anvil as a first anvil, as an entry anvil that you can get accustomed to the different edges and shapes and things of the anvil, right? Like you're like, oh, I've got this anvil and I've got the far side, the near side, I've got the tail of the anvil, I have a hardy hole, I have a horn of anvil, things like that. It's shaped like an anvil, looks like an anvil, talks like an anvil, but it kind of comes up short and walking like an anvil a lot of times, the ductile iron anvils. But they're still okay to get started on, and they're usually super cheap in comparison to the quote-unquote real anvils out there. I highly suggest getting one of these Achio anvils. I don't know if Jessica's got an affiliate link in the description. There's an affiliate link down in the description. I highly suggest you pick yourself up one of those. They're a hard anvil. They walk like an anvil. They talk like an anvil. They look like an anvil. They do everything an anvil needs to do. They're just lightweight. That's it. That's their only downside, is they don't have a bunch of mass underneath them. But they are a far cry better than a rail track. You can go online on eBay and buy a railroad track for like 50 bucks, or you can spend an extra 65 and walk away with an anvil that looks like an anvil. So I would just save up that extra 65 and get that. Now that's not just salesman speech. If I didn't believe in them good enough, I wouldn't be giving it away to people. I've got a Harbor Freight anvil, and I've got a ductile iron anvil that I reviewed, all sitting in the other room, and I haven't given those away. I'm giving these type away because I know that they will help somebody out right getting started. So they are a really good anvil. And again, anything you purchase in an affiliate link, I get a small commission, very small, it's like 3%. Like a little 3% for sending you their way at no additional cost to you. So it's always beneficial that way. Great way of supporting the channel and anvil giveaways. All right, ready? Let's go back to the anvil. Great questions, by the way. Thank you very much for asking them. So I still got some width and thickness issues here to take care of. We're still wide way out at the end. We're still too wide here and a little too thick in this direction. So I still need to thin that out again for another heat. Let's check by our frame here. See, it's going to be a little smaller because I got to make the leg to go down. So it's going to be a shorter frame, but still got a little bit more thickness to draw out there.
The Wonder Boy says, how do you know when the metal is at the right temperature to start forging?
Great question. Usually I shoot for a bright lemon yellow. That's the correct forging temperature. And when it's a dull orange, I put it back. On camera screen, it's going to look like a bright white just because the camera sensors can't keep up as well, unless I make it really super dark on the anvil. I can adjust it to where you will see the steel for the proper color, but you won't see anything else in the shop. So the appropriate, excuse me, the appropriate temperature is a bright yellow, like a canary yellow, all the way up to like a nice lemon yellow, or what they call like a lemon yellow color. And then all the way down to a orange color is where you want to stop forging on it and put it back in the fire. All right, let's go ahead. Have we given chisels away yet?
No, we have not.
Bunches? Let's give those away. Where are we at?
We're at 626.
All right, gotta go move fast. All right, so we're gonna give away a chisel first, and then we're gonna give away a punch after that. You ready, Jess?
1 second, I'm giving them a heads up.
You giving them a heads up? All right, yeah, that's right. YouTube lag, huh? Not quite all perfectly live.
While we're giving them a second, you could always say any tips you have for staying cool during the summer when you're working in your shop.
Fans help. Obviously, they don't work when you're doing cameras. Use fans. Use cool rags like do-rags. Like just get them soaked with cold water and wear them on your head. As they evaporate, they help carry your body heat with them. You know, those sort of things can be really helpful. Work in cooler parts of the day. Don't work in such hot parts of the day. Try not to forge midday or late afternoon, that hour to about 5 p.m. or so, when it's usually the hottest portion of the day in the summer. You know, wait a little while till it's 7, 8, and then start forging a little bit, as long as you can get away with that with your neighbors. And again, that's kind of how to do it. You either have to get up super early, stay up super late, or if you're in the thick of it through the day, get a bunch of fans, air circulation, and hydrate. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Constantly drink water. That will really help regulate your core body temp and be better off that way. So, all right. We're ready, and the metal's almost ready, so we're going to make this quick, okay? So we're going to give away the slitting chisel first to one random person. Ready? Go. Who do we got?
All right, I landed on Granddad's Forge, who says cold cut.
Hey, hey! Congratulations, Granddad's Forge. Thank you, sir, for being here. You're the lucky winner of this little hot slitting chisel here. Congratulations. Get with us. Contact link, all that jazz. All right, let's do the punch real quick. Square punch. We ready? Set? Go. Who do we got?
All right, we have Todd Good, who says, okay, chisel me timbers. Got me, but this isn't a timber chisel. It's a metal one. LOL.
Well, is it Scott Be Good?
Todd Good.
Todd Good. All right, hey, Todd Good, congratulations. You won the square punch. All you gotta do is get with us in the contact link down below. Give us your information, all that jazz, and we will get that shipped out to you, brother. Thank you for being here. Thank you, thank you. Have I missed any super chats, or am I doing okay?
Yeah, we're caught up.
All right, we're all caught up. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. We'll call it a good thing. So this part's always a lot of drawing out to do, but the result is worth it in the long run. So this right now is just a planishing heat to get this all planished up. The thickness is correct. The size dimensions correct. And she's fairly straight. Good. Still got a little bit of hammer blows to do, but I can do that type stuff. Clean up the planishing work off camera. There we go. Got the first stage done there. Now we'll work on cleaning up the forging on this part here. Look good?
Yeah, it does.
So hopefully we can clean that up fairly decently. I'll probably bend this up out of the way now. We'll bend this out of the way. And then we can forge down this part here. Before I do that, I'm going to get this thing cooled off. What time are we sitting at, Jess?
6:30.
6:30. All right, right on. How many people we got?
We have what looks like approximately 181 viewers. Nope, sorry, it refreshed. 187 actually.
Evan, you're all lucky. Now, if it'll be my guess, about 7 p.m., we're going to shoot on up there. That'll be about 200-300 people, maybe a little bit more. And they'll all be here waiting on that anvil to be given away. But guess what, Chuck? It'll already be given away. Boom. Because we're going to heat this thing up. And while it heats, we're going to go ahead and give away an anvil. How's that sound to everyone?
Let's see here. I will preface the anvil giveaway with, for those of you who are new and if you haven't heard this before, we are having it sent direct from the manufacturer, so it's not the one that Roy's been pointing to back there. Normally they come in a blue color, so again it'll be shipped straight to you. Also, you do have to be in the continental United States, the 48 states, because that's where the manufacturer is willing to send it to. And also you do have to be over 18. If I do land on you and you are under 18, you have to have your parent or guardian accept it on your behalf.
You know, basically they kill all the fun. I gotta get my fire adjusted here. Get back to working right. Once I get all that adjusted, then we can go on. By the way, if anybody's ever confused on rules for giveaways or things like that, or any of those sort of situations, Jessica always writes that up in full in the descriptions of any of the live streams. So if you want to know how to get entered to win something that we're talking about, or if you want to know about the next live stream, when it'll be and when it'll be happening, like, it's all written in the description down below. So you can click on the links, you can go over, you can get signed up for the next live stream, make sure that you're here for it. There's all that good information. There's our website. It's all linked up in the description. So be sure to read through those at least once in your lifetime on one of our live streams. and you'll be good to go. All right, I think that'll be sufficient. All right, can they see this anvil? I think they can see this anvil, can't they? All right, so we're going to go ahead and draw for the 66-pound Chile anvil. Little backstory, I started off this year, and what I wanted to do this year was like a whole year of giving back tools and tooling, things like the anvil, and just, you know, hand tools, things like that in general. And so I started off this year calling it the Year of the Anvil. And the goal is to give away 12 anvils, 12 66-pound Chile anvils this year. And so far, this is anvil number 8, so you're a lucky number 8 winner, right? You'll be number 8, you know, if you won there. And, you know, all that has spurned off of the fact that for many years now, while we've been here on YouTube, and I'll take some time to talk because the fire's going to take a while to get back up to heat here while I draw for this. For many years here, we have been the recipient of a lot of love from our community here online. A lot of our regulars that support us and watch our videos every single day. Even if they're boring, or even if they're the type of video that doesn't quite suit them, they'll turn it on and let it run in the background for us. And there are just so many of you out there. Even though we're at about 60,000 subs now, our core group of subs is probably like 500 people who keep this channel afloat and keep it running. And those people deserve all the respect and all the love in the world. You'll see them, they're regular commenters basically on every video. Show those people some support, show them some love, go check out their channels if they've got one, that sort of stuff. But that's kind of what spurned this on. I like giving stuff away. That makes me feel good on the inside, so I'm a selfish person, so I like doing that. But it really wouldn't be possible without their support and constantly watching videos and super chatting like you see up here with the lights that change and things like that. That's not, I can't express that, express it enough that is why there's anvil giveaways. What will we do in 2021? I don't know. In fact, I'm flat shocked that by the grace of God and a lot of support from you all out there in the community, we've been able to give away 8 anvils so far during all the nuttiness that's been going on in this world. There was a couple months that was like, yeah, I don't know, we might have to go back on our word about giving away anvils and tooling and the shipping costs and things like that. But time and time again, our community has pulled through. So again, huge thank you and a shout out to all of y'all. Love you guys. If you guys are new to the channel, you definitely should subscribe and become a part of this community. Like I said, it's one of the best ones on the internet, in my opinion. But of course, I'm partial and biased towards our own. But we'll go ahead and draw for the 66-pound anvil. Usually the way we like to do this is you have got to comment a phrase. It doesn't have to be funny. It doesn't have to be really anything other than a phrase, a sentence of some kind that's intelligible. So pick me or pick or me or those sort of things, they won't work. We won't draw those names. We will draw at random a phrase, a comment that is a sentence of some kind. So if that's you, I hope I've given everybody enough time to chatting. So we're going to draw for it, pull at random. And again, if you don't win, not the next live stream, that's in 2 weeks from now, but the following live stream, we'll be giving another anvil away in September. That'll be anvil number 9 that we'll be giving away. So you want to check out and stop back by for more door prizes and whatnot. Ready? Yeah. Steady? Are they ready? Are their thumbs bleeding yet?
They're going for it.
Let's go. Who do we got?
All right, we have Todd Patterson who says, anvil please, love Christ-centered Ironworks.
Haha. Todd Patterson, congratulations there, brother. Appreciate you. You won the 66-pound Chile anvil. Of course, not that anvil, but the one that will be shipped to you from the manufacturer there. So congratulations, everybody. Give him a hand clap or a thumbs down if you really hate Todd now. Right? It's okay. It's okay to feel a little hurt by that. Just leave it this way. You've got almost a whole month to get your thumbs rest and recuperated to come back and maybe win the next one.
That's right.
Oh. Yeah, so we'll be giving away 12 like I said, this is number 8, so we've got 4 more to go this year. Lot more giveaway items, stuff like that. Hopefully that'll work out well. And we'll see how the rest of this year pans out, and hopefully in 2021 maybe I can start getting some sponsors of the stream that will have even more cool blacksmith related tools that we can give away as door prizes and things like that. I haven't really had the time to go after anybody on that, you know, or make any sort of contacts with different people, companies that I think would be a good fit for that to make a reoccurring thing. That would be good, but working on that. Probably towards the fall, start working on that and seeing what happens in 2021. So who knows? But thank you for being here. And how many people we got now? It was 180. It's down to like 95 now, ain't it? 200. Woo, it went up. Yeah. See? Like I said, it's going to go up closer to 7. It'll be like 300 viewers, 400 viewers. They were like, when's he giving away the anvil? They're like, it was already given away. Tough luck, Chuck. You should have been here. Should have been watching the whole stream. Moo-ha-ha.
Thank you, Heath. He says, time to change that color. Yeah, now it's a light blue.
Hey, light blue, I'll take it. Kind of looks white. I think it's because the strobes on it, it's got white and blue both coming on, and the white is just a little overpowering of the blue. But thank you. Thank you very much for changing the color. Appreciate that. This is almost up to temp. I need to want it to be a little hotter yet for when I bin that area, when I bin that thing out of the way. Yeah, so we're going to basically bin this, not quite at a right angle. We're not going to quite just do this just yet to it, but we need to bend it up out of the way so this way we can work on this portion. Shouldn't have touched my drawing. So this way we could work on this portion here. Right now, that's kind of interfering, and you could bend it to the left or to the right to get it out of the way and then work on it, and that's a perfect valid thing. But since we have to bend it up this way anyhow, since we're going to be bending it up this direction anyhow, at least for a little bit, we're just going to go ahead and do that now, so this way we can have plenty of access to hammer anywhere we want there. Woohoo, green!
Yeah. That's the previous color. That was from B West Bay. $5 super chat to help with the next anvil. Thumbs up.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So.
And also Granddad's Forge shipping help. He turned it yellow.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Granddad's Forge. Greatly appreciate you. We are so close.
Brute Lemon asked if we made the sign.
Yes, did. Of course. I'm a blacksmith. Would you have it any other way? Of course I had to make the sign. Oh. All right, it's good and hot. Let's go back to the anvil. Thank you all very much for the super chats. Greatly appreciate that. Thank you all for being here. We've still got some more door prizes to give away, so stick around for those. So now we're going to go ahead and bend over the horn of the anvil. This piece, make it go away. And keep it somewhat flat. Again, I'm really just trying to bend this out of the way. I'm not trying to forge it. This part I'm forging a little bit, just trying to straighten it up to get it back in line. Just keep everything in check. Now I should be able to come in here and work on this piece here. See, I've got plenty of room I can actually hammer into there. We will support this on the horn of the anvil out here to support it while we dress up that rag and dress up that piece there. Be careful. We can go to the main cam. Be careful while you're working on this that you don't let this slap you and give you a little bit of a brand on the side of the neck or cheek, because that thing sticks up quite a bit there. And as you're looking at it and hammering, it's awful close to your cheek and jawline, so be careful of that. Have I done that? Yes, I have. That's why I'm saying be careful of it. I personally have done that, so I know how that feels. It feels not so good. Not so good. You will be reminded of your ignorance right then and there when it happens. Oh.
Brute Lemon, thank you for the $10 super chat. Says some kind of help, LOL.
Thank you, Brute Lemon. Plenty good, thank you.
And just gonna get better, $2 says my bits.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Just Gonna Get Better. Appreciate that. The other benefit to super chatting is, guess what? You get your name up there on the board. That's another huge benefit. A lot of the people who super chat are the people who watch on the regular, so again, just more over to it. All praise and thanks, give it to the people that are supporting the channel. So it really does. It comes in, turns right around and goes right back out. So greatly appreciated.
Brian Hellman, thank you for the smiley poo.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, it's a happy poo, so we'll just call it that. It's happy. So if it was an angry poo, then well, they gave you money, so why not voice your hot displeasure? I wish all trolls had to pay a fee. If all trolls had to pay a fee, like when someone was angry and wanted to like cuss me out, you'd be like, you can do this for $9.95. Man, I would be in the, I'd really would have a Ferrari or something like that. Nah, just do it like Mr. Johnny Cash, black Cadillac. There you go. Something with some weight and mass behind it. Big, long, black Cadillac. Wouldn't do a Ferrari. Would it be a custom black Cadillac?
Speargrass Forge wants to know how the thumb's doing.
Not so hot. So I was working, and wouldn't you know it, I thought, hey, you know what, it's gotten better. It's really not that sore anymore. And I whacked it again with a mallet. Yeah, turns out, no, it's not completely healed yet. So that's how it's doing. Now I've got an even darker thumbnail than what I had before. Oh, will you show it off the camera real quick? There you go. I don't know if they can see that. It's going to be out of focus, but
Yeah.
you guys can see it. Yeah, so that's about how that's going. Wonderful. The pain's there to remind you that you're still alive there, ladies and gentlemen.
You still have a thumb?
Yep. All right, we at the anvil? Huh?
Yes, we are.
It to be a very clean. There we go. See it? Like it, want it, believe it. Look good? Alrighty. We're looking good. You have to be careful when you're doing this that you watch the thickness right in here. You don't want that to collapse on itself and get real thin. If it collapses and gets sharp and thin here, you're gonna break this off. So You want that to have a good thickness to it. So stay off that corner a little bit. You can always come in there. If you've got any like mess or something that you need to clean up, you can always clean it up with a file after the fact. With all saw frames, there's going to be some file work involved. All right, this thing hot again.
Thank you, Michael Hunt, for the $20 super chat. He says, awesome job. I have really enjoyed your videos and your hard work.
Hey, thank you very much, Michael. Michael Hunt, yeah? No. Thank you, Michael Hunt. Thank you for the super chat. Glad you appreciate the videos and all the instruction. That is what we are here for. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Brute Lemon recommends a metal thumb cage.
Yeah, there you go. We'll forge ourselves a metal thumb cage. What's that one torture device that they used to put people in? It was, gosh, I can't think of the name of it. It was like the casket and had the spikes on it and they closed it in on you. I forget what the name of that is. Somebody can comment it in the comment section. I'm sure one of you guys know what that thing's called. I just can't recall it right off the top of my head. But yeah, do something like that, minus the spikes. It'd be like a thumb, a steel thumb. Well, ooh, I could do that with a leather strap that's around it. And people would be like, what is wrong with this guy? He's got a prosthetic. Then I'll be known as the guy with a prosthetic thumb, when it's totally not true. Alrighty, let's give away some more stickers. How many have we given away so far, babe?
2.
Only 2? I thought we gave more. All right, let's give away some more.
Iron Maiden was the name by
Iron Maiden, that's right. There we go. So we're gonna give away a few more sticker packs. Let's give away 3 more, Jess. Sound good? Waiting for them to comment.
Yeah, we could draw one before I comment that. Just to
Draw one. Ready? Go. All right, who do we got?
All right, we got Jacob Rawls, who had answered Iron Maiden.
Hey, Jacob Rawls, congratulations for the answer with Iron Maiden. That wasn't the prerequisite to win these, but congratulations. Get with us, Jacob Rawls, down in the contact link in the description, and we'll get you a sticker bundle sent out. Let's draw one more. Who do we got?
We got Justin Ray, who says, love me some stickers.
Hey, Justin Ray, I love you to get some stickers there, pal. Congratulations. Get with us, contact link down in the description. And I'll do one more before my piece burns up. Ready, set, go. Who we got?
We got Scott Brown, who says, hi, Roy, you are awesome.
Hey, Scott Brown, you are awesome. Now you got some awesome stickers. Thank you all for being here. So I've got the tip nice and heated up on that piece we just forged. I'm going to upset the end a little bit to clean off that. It's kind of got a bit of a sharp rag to it. I want that to be a snub end scroll at a later date. So I'm going to heat it up. I'm going to go back to the vise. Obviously, you all won't be able to see this too well from where you are at, but just trust me on it. I'm hammering this. Well, they probably can't see that at all, huh? Huh?
vaguely.
Vaguely? No. So all I'm doing there is just trying to upset the material enough, get it a little bit thicker. I'll dress it in the opposite plane. We'll get one more heat on that. Can we go to the anvil?
Yep.
You see that? See how I thickened it a bit? Good. So we get one more heat on that and upset it just a little bit more. This is the great part about using a coal forge for this process, is you have the ability to kind of spot heat only the areas that you want hot, which is a real big handiness. You can get just the end of something hot. Versus with a gas forge, the whole thing might still be in there and pieces moving around on you. Unduly so. What you got, babe?
Yes. Dallas, do you know what you're planning for forged Christmas gifts this year?
for Forged Christmas gift this year.
Yes, I believe he's referencing the class in Goshen.
What? Referencing the class that I'm teaching in Goshen. That'll be just after Thanksgiving. That'll be what would be commonly referred to as, like your Black Friday type thing. But we will be doing that on basically the Saturday, Sunday afterwards. We'll be doing a Christmas gift class. I'm going to do some ornaments. I'm going to have that as an option again. One of the things I wanted to do, and I'll have to see how it transpires, so don't quote me on this yet, but I was planning on doing possibly skillets as Christmas gifts. So doing like hand-forged skillets as one of those items. So there'll be some smaller entry-level projects, and then there'll be like the main project of maybe doing skillets. If I don't end up doing that, again, I'll know more as I get closer to November, to the end of November. I'll know more on that, and I'll definitely have Jamie Geyer have more details on that over at the Goshen site for what we are doing there. But that's kind of the plan as of right now, tentatively. We might do some sort of wreath or coat there's a lot of different candle holders. There's a lot of different plans that I have around that as backups if I don't get on doing the skillet portion of the deal. But great question.
Platinum Star Forge says, I am starting a blacksmith school. Any advice or tips?
He's starting a blacksmith school. Advice or tips? That's a good one. I've never ran a blacksmith school. I've taught a lot of people. Advice is teaching is be very patient. Be very patient and don't oversell your classes. Don't make the mistake of I got to have 20 people in here in the forge. If you know somewhat how to forge, it's different when you're in your own shop orchestrating your own process than it is to orchestrate 15 other people's processes as well. So work up to that. Start with maybe 1 or 2 people, or maybe 3 or 4 as a class size, and then move up from there. That would be my biggest piece of advice. Otherwise, you can get quite overwhelmed. And if you're overwhelmed, you're not going to be teaching properly, and it's going to get unsafe real quick. So, that's just how that happens. If you get overwhelmed, you're busy. If you're teaching young kids especially, and, you've always got that one troublemaker in class that's going to be overdoing whatever they're not supposed to, branding the guy next to them or gal, right? And you're over here, being hands-on with one person that seems like they're the slow kid in class and needs all the help. And it becomes a mess, and you got, 14 of them to mess with. Yeah, just be careful of overselling yourself when it comes to that. I'm gonna go to the vise. Upset this material again. Great question though. Hopefully that'll help. Some advice. I know that's not much, but again, I'm not really privy to your business model and what your hopes and goals are for it, so it's kind of limited into what I can really speak towards. Other than, I hope it'll go really well for you. Good? I need to round that up, push it off to one side, and turn it into, can they see that? See that upset? Good. Get that hot. So I'm just working on that end for the snub right now. What else we got, babe?
There is a lot of good feedback about that class, and especially doing the skillet. A lot of people who said they would be willing to make the drive or be interested in it. So, yep.
Well, then I'll see what I can't do about making it happen. Again, there's a lot in the materials and the prep work for that, so that's why I've been so busy here lately. I don't know whether I'll have the time to make all the prep work, all the materials and things, so that's why I haven't agreed to that just yet. But if there's enough interest in it, it seems like a lot of people would love to sign up for that class, then I might make that the deal. And we'll do a Christmas skillet class. A lot of people like doing that. Well, I think a lot of people like it. I know a lot of people like to get skillets for Christmas gifts, because when I was selling skillets, I sold a boatload of them every Christmas and basically year-round.
Dana wants to know the name of the Christmas live stream because he has a plan.
Ooh, a plan. It is the Great Blacksmith Christmas Giveaway live stream. So, Dana, if you have a plan, enact your plan, sir. Say what? It's a mouthful?
Yes, Royce. I was just noticing somebody pointed out that your drink jug is at the same size as the fire extinguisher.
Is that on the... Oh, it's the same size diameter and stuff? Yeah.
Mine's bigger, actually.
Well, I'm a bigger fire that has to be put out.
Yeah, there you go.
Dave the Wood Barber says, Roy, do you have any plans on doing a collab with Big Dog Forge, Alex Steele, Jason Knight, or any other smiths in the future?
Yeah, I would. I can't say I have plans because it's kind of a two-way street. Like, yeah, Alex Steele, me and him's gonna collab next month. He just doesn't know about it. Can't do that. So I have collabed with Big Dog Forge before, and I've collabed with John Switzer at Black Bear Forge before. So yeah, hopefully maybe in the spring of the year, when I slow down in my regular business, I can look into doing some more collaborations. I've got a couple cool ones in mind, but they've kind of got to flesh themselves out a bit more organically before I can pose them. And I've got to be able to be responsible enough to be able to hold my end of the bargain up. That's a big one. I was supposed to do a collaboration. I sent out a bunch of wrought iron to different people. Big Dog, John Switzer, Black Bear Forge, stuff like that. I sent out some wrought iron that I had, and I was going to make a big hammer, and I still got the uncompleted hammer sitting. I got away from it. The faces didn't weld it on properly. I needed to reforge some things. I was going to do this big elaborate sledgehammer, wrought iron sledgehammer, and got pulled away from it on about 1.5 billion other tasks, and then I never kind of finished that in. I ended up making like another video, but it wasn't as grandiose as I would have liked to been for the collaboration. But so that's kind of one of those things. I don't want to do that again. That's the problem. It seems like always when I stick my foot out there, my neck out there, I get somebody who, will say, yeah, we'll collaborate and it'll be great. And then like a month happens where like, it seems like everyone and their brother wants something from me order-wise. And then it's not overly convenient to turn down income to do a collaboration. So hopefully I can get better about that in the future. But yeah, I'd still love to do some collaboration. So, all right. Go to the anvil, Jess. Go to the anvil. I'm gonna knock that back forward because I need to be able to work on that end and turn it into a snub. All right, there we go. That'll be cleaned up with a file a little bit later. But that's the start of it there. Brush our anvil. And now I can go ahead and roll that out into something that looks like over at our board. Go over to our board. Not quite like it. I'm going to have a little bit extra length on it, but that's okay. Again, like I said, this was a guesstimation. It was all in guesstimate on lengths I needed for what. It's always better to have too much length than not enough. Like right now, if I was really unhappy about that and I wanted to make it exactly to the drawing, which I'm not going to make it to the drawing. But if I wanted to make it exactly to the drawing, I'm like, hey, that's going to be too much length. I can just chop it off, upset more material, and make another snub further back because I have the length of material there to do something with. Likewise, say if I do want to make it this full length of this whole deal, right? And I want to make it this whole length of that, and I'm not quite there and I'm too short. I just draw more thickness out of the bar in this direction, and I have enough material there. I have enough thickness in that bar, that main bar, that I can really draw that out even way past this even. I could draw it off the map if I wanted to. So again, I may decide to do that. I may decide to continue to draw it out a little bit and go ahead and make it to the size of this thing. That is all up to you. Like I said, it's better to have a little bit too much and you end up with a thicker frame than draw out too much and then you end up with a very thin, flimsy frame. So you don't want to really have a flimsy frame when it comes to this.
Rob Huff, he asked, is there anything one should bring to a floral forms class? Should they be taking one? Smiley face.
Great reminder, Rob. No, everything should be there, Rob. Bring your favorite hammer. Like's been said before, if you got scrolling tongs, bring some scrolling tongs or needle nose pliers. That can be very helpful. Chisels, a sharp peened hammer if you want to do really nice sharp texture on stuff. Or again, a chisel to do some texturing. Those are some things that you want to take and bring with you. Everything else will basically be provided. We'll have a welder there, so it's going to be kind of a forged fab plus just a forging. I'm going to illustrate several different forms. I'll illustrate two different types of roses. You know, one that's like a rosette, like more like the Russian rose. We'll work on that. We'll also work on a full-blown rose with the leaves and stuff. That'll be all tack welded up. So it's actually really simple. Floral forms are pretty simple, but they're multi-component. So there's a lot of pieces that all come together, a little file, a little grind work, and a little finish work, and then you're done. But it's forging a lot of smaller components and stacking them all together to make the flower or whatever that you're working on. And yes, you should. If you haven't signed up for it, you should be there. Missing out. Goshen, Ohio. 2020. All right. That snub's about like I like it, so I'm going to leave it at that. I could keep playing with it. Leave it alone. I'm going to come over the radius edge of the horn again, drive that out. Just want to get that upset where I got a bit more of a 90 to it. And now we're going to work on just the scroll, just the snub end portion here. We'll get that hot and go again with it. You guys can see how that's coming out.
Troy from sorry, were you about to say something? Okay. Troy from Bar Run Forge asked what your favorite project is to forge.
Anything with Baroque in the title. Baroque ironwork for the most part. Really, I like this type of stuff that I'm doing right now. That's kind of what I was so excited about. I'm usually excited at the beginning of these processes to start on things. I'm a real big fan of my mentor, friend, Tom Latney. And I guess, I don't know if I call him a mentor, but I've apprenticed underneath him, you know, once, or I took an internship, as he would call it, underneath him once, and I've been back to his house several times, forging at his place, and then I've also taken a bunch of classes with him. So I count him as a mentor, definitely count him as a friend, and so his kind of ironwork inspires me. If you don't know who Tom Latney is, you should. You should Google it. If Jessica's writing the name in the comment section, you should Google him. Could you do that, honey? Tom Latney. You should Google him and check out his work. His work is just, it's off the charts, in my opinion. So I'm really inspired with that sort of stuff. Another guy that I'm inspired by, a lot of his work is Cyril Kolnick. You should look at his work as well. I don't know if you want to write his down. Cyril Kolnick. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead and write him down. That's what inspires me. So it's not an individual item. I have gotten to a point that it's a particular style of ironwork that inspires me and that I'm happy to forge. I could forge a hammer, but to me that's just a lump of steel with a hole put in it. Now if I forge a hammer and then I add all the decorative chasing work and engraving and file work, now it excites me. Now it's something that I like to make. So it's gotten a little bit more complex. I mean, I used to just be happy if I could have turned out a meat skewer with an alternating twist pattern and it looked good. I'd be like, woohoo, got that done. But now, since I've progressed to a certain point with skill level, those sort of things become a bit more mundane. Not that they're not still fun to do every now and then. It's just I don't get the same heebie-jeebies about it like I do, you know, the more classical ironwork that I like to do now. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully I'm making sense. I don't sound daft. I'm gonna use a pair of scrolling tongs on this next heat here. We'll see if we can get it bent around where I like it a little bit better. I'm gonna use our scrolling tongs and try to bend it back. We don't want to take out the bend per se, but we want to give this more of an angle, so bend that back. And now we can tighten that up a little bit. This might require some adjusting and playing around. In fact, just plan on it. Expect to have to do some adjusting and messing around with this bottom piece to get it exactly where you want it and how you like it. Like right in here, we're a little too straight. I was trying to get it back this way so I didn't curl it too much that way. So I need to get a little bit more curvature in there. So again, I may have to end up opening it up a bit after I get that curvature in there. Might have to work on it to get it bent back to where I want it. So we'll play with that just a bit more, but I don't want to bore you guys with that whole thing until I get it perfect.
Thank you for the super chat, Owen. He says, sorry it's not more, but thank you for the videos. You have been part of my inspiration to give the craft a try.
Owen, thank you. No apologies necessary. Anything anybody wants to give is great. If you don't want to give, that's cool too. That's fine. Said there's no pay scheme here. There's no paywall for my love and affection. Although $1 million will kind of make me like you just a bit more.
The kilt paywall.
Yeah, it's the kilt paywall, right? Yeah. Really does just about anything. Just shy of criminal for $1 million. Not really. So, oh, and thank you very much for the super chat. Being silly. I have standards. I have morals. They're not high, but I still got them. So on a piece like this, it's very hard to balance the time between making it interesting enough that you guys actually care to continue to watch and actually getting the thing perfect the way that I want it, right? So there's a certain level of, I'm trying to choose my words wisely here. Oh, who cares? I'll just be insulting. There's a certain amount of dumbing down that I have to do for live streams. It's not because people can't handle it. It's just I can't handle doing the immaculate things in the live stream and manage giveaways and make everything. Like, I doubt you want to see me hand file something for 6.5 hours straight. That's just a boring live stream. It's not something that you're wanting to do. So I have to make projects where I can work on them and you get the point. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. That's what that's about. And you kind of get the idea and the concept of it without boring you to tears with the nitty-gritty detail work. So questions, comments, Jess?
Yes. The Wonder Boy. What's the minimum for Roy to wear a kilt? LOL.
Somewhere between $1 and $1 million. We'll let you know when you hit that reserve. That's great. Like, what's the minimum?
Charming Hollow says, if I could afford to give it, I would. That means I'd have to have 2 million.
Yeah, right here with you, brother. And I know you would. And then you'd be homeless because Amy would kick you out. So don't do that, brother. Don't do that.
Gordon Farmer, thank you for the Smiley Poo sticker. And Stephen Watkins, thank you for the $5 super chat. Says better late than never from Minion Smithy. I almost forgot. Jeez.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you all for the super chats. Greatly appreciate it. Oh. Where was that? I was going to say something. I was going to do something. Oh, yeah. I want to take this heat, and then we're going to give away the last flint and steel, right? Yep. We've got that to go? Yeah? Okay, we'll give that away, and maybe one more sticker pack or something. We'll get this straightened up. All right, so I got to go to the vise. I know. I don't have that third camera angle yet. Do forgive me. And then I'm going to use a different type of bending fork, like a wrench. And we'll get in real close here. I'll bend this back straighter where I want it to be. Yeah, that's looking a lot better. I like that a lot better. Yes, sir. There we go. There, that's nicer. I like that. I got a little extra than what I had on the other one, what I bargained for, but that's okay. We're gonna just make it the way it is and love it for who it is on the outside as well as on the inside. Okay, that should be good. Yeah, I think that should be good. I have to get that bent back straight to do that next part. Sorry, having a conversation in my head, folks. Having a conversation in my head. Yep, good enough. So you guys see that there. Look good?
Yeah, it does look good. I like it.
It's not quite where I wanted to be with it, but it's close. See? So we'll survive it. Now we'll get this piece hot again. On that edge.
Someone had asked a little earlier, what's your plan for the blade? Are you going to be making one or buying one?
Great question. Plan for the blade. I will probably buy one and adapt it to fit. So you could take a store-bought blade. A lot of times you take a store-bought bandsaw blade. Say you needed one a custom length, and you can just cut it off on the end round it and then punch your own little hole in the end of it. A lot of times those bandsaw blades, they're not overly hard. They're pretty flexible. They're a good temper. So it doesn't take much to just pop a hole in them. Usually a punch. I've got like a little Whitney punch. It's like an old Colt. It's like a cold type punch. It'll be able to punch a hole in it pretty easy because it's really hard. The punches are really hard. So I'll just make my own blade to fit. Excuse me, got some hiccups there for a second. What we got going on, girl?
Here we have Dragon Water Forge. She says, couple more bends and you're there.
Yeah. They just happen to be the hardest bends to do.
Granddad says, to me, dumbing down is putting on the Ritz.
Yeah, it's funny. Oh, I said I was going to give something away. Then I'll get in on my little rant. No, we'll go for a rant here. Everybody seems to like rants, except for maybe the people who are watching currently. I don't know. But we'll give away another one of these, little flint and steel. I showed them off earlier in the stream. It's a little pouch, possum sauce. Thank you, sir. Shipping these out. You and your compadre there. Again, come with a flint. Comes with some char cloth, looks like, and a steel. So everything you need there to start a fire. Start another. I won't say it. All right. I was going to say it. No, it was not good. Anyways, so somebody else is going to win this flint and steel. Did you put a comment in there? Tell people to start commenting?
Yeah.
All right. We good? Yep. All right, we're going to draw for this. One lucky winner.
We have Bar Run Forge. She says, that sounds like a great 70s TV show, Flint and Steel.
There you go, Bar Run Forge. Congratulations, sir. You are the winner of this little flint and steel pack. There, thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting. Let's go ahead and give away another sticker pack, Jess, real quick, before that piece burns up. Ready, set, go.
We have Jason Miller, who says, I love the Roy rants.
Hey, Jason Miller. Glad you love the Roy rants, and that comment got you some stickers, too. Can't beat it. Oh, I'm going to make them wait for it even longer. All right, let's go to the anvil. Before we go there, I'm going to cool off the other end. All right, there we go. All right, so now we're going to sharpen this up. Get it straight. Then I'm going to put in my offset bin. And now we're going to have some work to drive that home into the corner to get that square. So this way we have a sharp 90-degree corner up there. Hopefully you guys can see how that's looking. And hopefully it's looking good. Cool off this handle a little bit. All right. Those down there. Get that hot again. we want to focus majority of our heat right on this bend. I'm putting it back in the fire and I'm covering up that end. I'm covering up the bend area and I'm leaving the rest exposed on top of the fire so it won't heat as well as the insulated piece. I know you guys can't see that. Again, I promise one day I will be able to afford the $400 to throw into another camera lens. And when I say afford, that means I will allocate the money at some point to put in a $400 camera lens so you can get a wider angle shot and you'll be able to actually see, not only will you be able to see the coal forge, but you'll be able to see the gas forge and anywhere in between, and that'll work out pretty good. And without it looking like a fisheye, you know, I won't get like super small as they walk to the corners, which will be beneficial. Oh, rant, yeah, so rants, two-part rant. I have a big problem with PC, the PC culture we live in, the political correctness sort of thing. And that's twofold. One, political correctness, there's an argument for not using political correctness when people just want to run their mouth about anything, right? In the most vile way that they can think of, the most amount of cuss words that they can throw out there. So they don't like political correctness in that point. But the other thing I don't like in that whole deal is it's made a bunch of YouTubers, blacksmiths, and people alike constantly have to be a bunch of stumbling, fumbling weirdos online of trying to figure out what's the right thing to say at every one given moment. I know I suffer from that a lot because if you haven't guessed already, I'm probably not the most well-educated person in the room. So, you know, I don't say everything the right way. I have a lot of things just from growing up that was always said a certain way, you know, just certain phrases and stuff that you would use, you know. You can't use jerry-rig, right? Can't use jerry-rig. Definitely can't use the other version of that because that'll get you strung up these days. You can't use the jerry-rig because, you know, the people who are geriatrics, right? Or something like that. You got to be careful of that. You got to be careful of this. You got to be careful of that. And that's all online. And it's just like, I ain't got enough mental fiber to deal with that sort of things. So I had one guy get upset at me one time because I used the word calling myself a redneck. I have redneck in my blood. I know I may not sound like I'm from the South, and I don't know, maybe I do. I've got a weird accent. It's not from the South, it's not from the North. I'm a mutt, okay? I'm a mutt. Get over it. I've been shipped pillar to post as a kid. My dad was in the military, so we moved all over. So I didn't have the luxury of growing up in Kentucky proper, right? Like I didn't get that. But all my grandparents and everybody on my dad's side were all from Kentucky and from Hazard and Hyden County, all that down to Kentucky and Tennessee and those sort of places. And so again, called myself a redneck, and this dude went off on me in a comment section about how I shouldn't use the word redneck and because it's degrading to people from the South and there's some sort of stigma and there's all this stuff. And like went on like a 5-page tirade in the comment sections about something that I just used very loosely in terminology, making fun of myself for some reason of, you know, me not having the most eloquent of speech. So yeah, that's one thing that's kind of bugged me here of late. It's very stifling. You just can't have a one-to-one conversation. Like I like having just conversations like this. If you meet me in person, I'm going to say a whole lot of stupid stuff to get to a particular point that I'm trying to drive home. And for the most part, everybody gets that when you meet me in person. But for some reason, that doesn't translate online. You know, you got to watch what you say around every turn. And I don't even say bad stuff. Like I'm not even saying stuff that would like make your mama blush, right? And it's just those sort of things that they always trip me up. And again, not trying to turn into any sort of political things or any viewpoints or anything like that. But I think we all kind of suffer from that in day-to-day life. You can't say something because of the fear of making a mistake, of saying something that didn't quite come out right, or that might be kind of off-putting. You know, I had somebody complain that I didn't say ladies enough, or that there wasn't enough of me commenting on female blacksmiths. I have no business with female blacksmiths. I'm not a female blacksmith. If you show me a female blacksmith that's actually worth her salt, then I'll say great. But you can't just show me somebody who's pretty and say, oh, aren't they amazing? They're the master. No, they're not. They're very much not. They're a female. Great. You want a cookie? There's not, you know, if you're a female and you're blacksmithing, great. You're just like any of the rest of us. Congratulations. You get the right to sweat and burn and bleed like everyone else does on the planet. So those sort of things, like I said, they get under my skin after a period of time. And I'm usually a nice guy and all that. I don't hold grudges and weird things like that, but there's just certain points, it's like you get these commenters that come run through and it's like, man, where do you live? You have got to live either in your mother's basement or a closet somewhere. Like, and you only come out every now and then when something just really upsets your apple cart. When you didn't get that Go-Gurt that you were wanting, your mother didn't get your favorite kind of, you know, fruit juice, fruit cup that you like to drink on, you know. And I don't know. I'm probably just talking to myself here. I probably lost like 6 subscribers, huh? Good riddance. Like, it's one of those like, good riddance. If you know, don't like it, I can't keep up with all that. There's, you know, I ain't got time for all that nonsense. I used to struggle with this a lot in my earlier videos. I'm being candid here on camera since I'm talking. I used to struggle a lot with this in my earlier videos on YouTube. And a lot of that would kind of come out in the videos because I was trying to put together a tutorial. I just had an altercation with somebody online, who knows what, having whatever their conniption fit is. And then I would be making this tutorial, and then I would sound like I was really rough and gruff. And then it would just propagate that same people who are like, oh, he's angry. It's like, no, I'm hot. I'm sweaty. I'm like working, and I thought I was doing something for the benefit of mankind by sharing a particular process, taking time from my client's orders to share a process with somebody I'll never meet online for free, and then taking bad rap, or, you know, somebody's, you know, you just had one bad thing. I believe I'm doing a little bit better now about not letting that sort of stuff get to me before I get onto camera. I think. I don't know. You guys tell me. You guys can gauge it. I believe Rob Huff told me, was saying once that my my rants have become quite, you know, a lot more watered down since the earlier days. And I would say he's 100% accurate on that. My rants really have become watered down in current years, just because of that. I don't have the time to change everyone's mind, nor do I feel the need to. What's comments like, Jess? I'm getting nervous. You're quiet over there.
No, it's good. No, I don't know. People are liking the rant. They're like, you know, they're saying, well, I ran out of milk and cookies. I gotta get some more. And the baka maker just ran out of tang. And no, they like it.
Good. I guess. I don't know. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's good or not. No. I'm waiting on this steel to heat up. I'm sorry, it's taking a little bit. I should probably open it up a little bit more. I was being a little more genteel with the blower. Yeah, I mean, there's a point of like, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. Here, I need to bend this a little bit more so it gets down in the fire. So you don't have to do anything with it, Jess. I just need to bend it a little bit more so I can get the elbow down in the fire deeper. There is something to be said for that old adage, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all, right? And again, that's not what I'm talking about. It's just more or less of you just say something that you've said for decades, and now all of a sudden it's like impolite to say that thing that you've said. It's been part of your biological makeup for the last 30 years or whatever, and all of a sudden now everyone's kind of sissified to it. There's the thing, sissified. You say sissified. What do you mean? You mean women ain't strong? I said nothing of the sort. Yes, there's women who are sissies out there, and then there's butch women out there too. You know, there's women that are more man than I, you know, and that's scary. Just a little scary. But you know, like again, it's just one of those deals where when you're in blacksmithing, you just ain't got no time for that. You know, the blacksmithing trade and craft, we really don't have time for those type things. The world may have time for all those type of weirdo arguments and stuff like that, but if you're coming to the trades, man, oh man, God help you. God help you. Go be a union pipe fitter. Go be a roofer. Go be a concrete guy or gal, right? See, I'm making classifications there. I'm doing good. I get a gold star this week, you know. Go be a roofer. Go work in the trade. Go do this. You know, rough and gruff dudes. I'm probably talking to some of you. I'm sure there's some people sharing some stories right now. Go be a welder. Go do anything where you have to work with your hands and work long hours and get very little pay and sleep and praise for what you do on a daily basis. Go do that sort of stuff. And then like the little comments that might irritate you because someone didn't call you the right color brown will totally fade away. They will totally fade away. Because when I was doing HVAC work, I have been called everything but a white boy this close to my face before. So, you know, I have like, like in blacksmithing, it's like everyone's kind and nice in blacksmithing, but it's still a trade. Still very much a trade. It's still rough and gruff. Look at the people who decide to do blacksmithing. We all aren't exactly driving around in Ferraris and doing our hair and makeup and mani and petties. Not doing that, so. Go ahead, sorry. You're smiling there. There must be wild comments.
There's a bunch of hilarious comments. This one from Speargrass Forge says, "You are visibly less peeved with recent Roy rants. It used to get to you. Now I can tell you're just kind of meh. Potatoes gonna potate."
Yeah, that's basically what it is, Speargrass. Well, and again, I've gotten to a point, I've put in over 1,400 videos. If you don't like me after 1,400 videos, I don't really care about you. Like, go pound sand somewhere. Like, it's fine. I've put stuff for free. When I put things out for free, ain't nobody get a chance to yell at me, both in the comment section or otherwise. Like, that's my thing. Like, you know, I didn't even put up with people yelling at me. You know, when I said the guy was yelling at my face here, we walked outside. So there wasn't, you know, there's certain things like that, you know, it's like you just, nowadays in comment sections, like it used to bug me because I thought that these people are real people or real human beings that are just getting on my nerves or wouldn't appreciate the value that I was trying to bring. And after so many thousands of videos, you realize there's always going to be those people that don't appreciate that thing. We can go to the Anvil. I should shut up now before I get myself in trouble. Oh, you do? Okay, well, let's go here while I sharpen up this corner, shall we? I'm using the horn of the anvil to sharpen the outside corner first to support it. That's to get the metal pushed to the outside corner. Can you see that peak starting? Okay. Then we'll go to the square corner of the anvil when we can fit it there. Might have to go way back here. That'll get the inside square corner started. So if you guys can see that starting. And as you can see, we got all this extra material here that we're going to still draw out. This is kind of the process, by the way, of starting thick and forging thin. You always have more room to go. If I was already this thin, I couldn't get this square corner in here. That's why we left it thick, that original thickness. Now we can thin it down a lot more and draw this out. It's good.
That's right. That's right. I'm sorry. It was. Yes, it is amusing.
It was amazing.
Amusing. We'll go with amusing, not amazing. You are. Just have to watch it on the replay, I guess, to catch all the jokes. Anyway. Super chats, this was 20 minutes ago, back before we did a giveaway. I apologize to Heath and Yamez. Heath said, as long as you don't argue with yourself and lose, I think you will be okay. And so before the Roy Rant started. And here's a little extra to help with shipping. Smiley face.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Sorry we didn't get to it before the rant and the giveaway. What else you got?
We also have from Yamez, here's towards the kilt fun, BRB. Hopefully I'm back before the stream ends. Hearts and health.
Yamez. Well, the late Yamez. Getting some Coke piled up here.
And then the other one was from Graham Pepper. Says, thinking about LPG oxy to heat to beat. Any thoughts?
If you're doing small stuff, it'll work out great. If you need to heat any sort of mass, like above, say, 3/8 to half an inch, efficiently, that's not going to be your thing that you're going to want to use. Again, you're going to be able, like with a rosebud, you're going to be able to get like short heats on something, which is really great. And if you're working with small bar stock, you can get fairly long heats. You can paint it pretty effectively and heat up stuff like 1/4 inch stock. So if you're making hooks and things, that could work out great, torches and stuff. You don't need this gigantic forge with all this volume always hot. Cooking you to death. In fact, I did a 1-brick forge where I put my oxypropane torch in it. And I mean, it would get hot enough that, that it melted all the horseshoe nail hooks together that I was making at the time. So turn it down a little bit, but yeah, you could do something small like that for a 1/4 inch rod, do a small heating chamber, and that would make it more efficient as well. But yeah, that could work. Thank you for the super chat, by the way.
Jacob Rawls says, Roy, for every one person that gripes, there are hundreds of us that agree with you, or might not agree with you, but still respect your opinion.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's not even about having my opinion respected or anything else. It's, for me, it's about the whole thing as a whole. I mean, this craft has so many people in it, and you're going to have some people that are just jerks. That's going to happen. There's jerks in every craft. There's jerks in every trade out there. But there's a lot of really good people in everything that you do out there. You have to find them. In blacksmithing, in general, there's a lot of good, genuine people in blacksmithing. There really is. But sometimes we apply what's going on in our current lives or the current world around us, world events, and we apply that to people who are in, say, a craft like blacksmithing. When I got started in blacksmithing, there was not one skinny jean wearing person in blacksmithing. It's fine. If you're young and you like wearing skinny jeans and that's your thing, I think that's fatted out now. I don't know if it is. I think it's, running pants now? Because everybody's doing that parkour stuff, sweats, right? Like I don't even know what the cool thing is now. But there wasn't one person out there that even come close to looking like that. It was mostly dudes with beards, with a belly, and wearing bibs. Like that was it. Like that was like, if I told you, look for the guy, the old guy with the beard, the bibs, and he's kind of, you know, rotund, that explained like 1,500 Smiths at SOFA. So like, you know, like there wasn't, like, identifying mark. He's got some scars. Nope, try again. He looks slightly angry. Nope, try again. That basically that fit the bill for everyone. And now, you know, there is a lot more, if you want to call it diversity, there's a lot more interest from outside interests that come in, but they come into something that's always been a certain way, and they want to change it to suit them. And that's just not the way that it works. It's just not. Blacksmithing has been around forever. It's like, let's, you know, it really sucks that the fire has to be like so hot. Can we make the fire like colder? Because I don't like getting burnt. Like, it's not gonna work, right? Like, it's just not, you know. If you want to go learn from a guy, and you find a guy that's, you know, 80 years old and he don't care to teach you, the man ain't got no obligation to teach you. He's not a jerk. He just doesn't have to. He's old enough, he don't have to. You know, there's a lot of those type things where we forget that blacksmiths have always been that kind of that grungy, the hard-working tradespeople. It's tradespeople. That's basically what it is. Blue collar, right? Some would call it. People don't like the word blue collar anymore. It's like, that's just one of those deals. It's like, why don't you like the word blue collar? My grandpa, God rest his soul, one time, he had told me that. I'll tell this on him now. He's long since passed, you know, a couple years now ago. But, you know, he told me one time, he's like, it used to be a bad connotation to be blue collar, right? Well, it's coming back around to being a bad connotation to be blue collar. But, you know, he told me, he's like, don't be blue collar like your father, is what he told me. And I said, I want to be exactly like my dad, you know, blue collar. Got in the trades right after my dad. I would have followed my dad and went into the service, but he said, pick anything else, son. Don't go getting into the military. So I said, all right, you would know. So I didn't get into the military when I got out of high school and stuff. Married Jess instead and settled down. And a year later, poof, start working on blacksmithing. Again, doing heating and air conditioning. But again, those backstories and like those things, they become ingrained a part of you. And there's been a whole culture in blacksmithing and trade work and things like that for a long time before it became fashionable to be a blacksmith or fashionable to be a welder, you know, as you're welding in your pure silk jumpsuit, you know. And wondering why, like, and then suing the welding manufacturer because you got clothes stuck to you that peeled skin off because you were wearing a pure silk jumpsuit, you know, or, well, synthetic, pure synthetic. Probably silk wouldn't do that to you, but yeah. It's not their fault that you like to wear pleather pants when welding. That's not their fault. You know, you can't change an entire industry just to suit your needs. Doesn't work. That's enough rants on that. Sorry. Enough of my vitriol around that. Just putting it out there. If you feel offended, you should probably check yourself a bit because you're probably one of those people I'm talking about. And, you know, don't take it hard. Don't take hard feelings on it. It just is. It's truth, whether you want to accept it or not.
Rob Huff, he sent a $25 super chat. He said, Roy just described me. Off to buy skinny jeans and a man bun.
That is definitely not Rob Huff. All right, Rob. I want to see you in pleather pants, my friend. Pleather. So, remember when those were a thing? I'm dating myself now. Remember when pleather was considered a good idea for a fashion choice? Anybody remember that trend? Oh, I want to see you in pleather at Goshen. Let's see it. Full pleather. Full pleather in the end of August in Ohio. Yeah, that would be bad. Be bad. All right, this is hot. I can shut up now. Oh man. sure to bring your gold chain. Look like a 1980s mobster. I'm upsetting that corner a little bit. Sorry if you guys can't see it there. Like I know you can't see it, but there, what's everybody think of that?
They're still calling me on the rant. Looking nice, though.
I've created a monster.
We're happy about it, though.
Huh?
We're happy about it, though.
I guess what I would like to finish that off with and say this, maybe this is a bit of protection from YouTube, since YouTube likes to silence people like me on the regular, for my opinion. Get this hot again. I'll put this little caveat out there. If you come to this channel, and you want to learn blacksmithing, I'm here for you. That's what this channel is about. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to teach blacksmithing. I'm not here to appease you. I'm not here to appeal to your political persuasion. I'm not here to tell you everything's going to be okay. I'm not here to sugarcoat things about stuff to better fit you. I'm here to teach blacksmithing on this channel. That's what I do. I'm a blacksmith by trade. That is what I do for a living. If you want to glean information in that way, then please, by all means, subscribe, follow along. But realize I am a human being, and I am going to say stupid stuff. Not usually on purpose. It's usually by accident. I say something that irks somebody the wrong way. And if it irks you off, you're just going to have to get over it, sweetheart, because it's just the way that it is. I can't tell you how many people, how many rookies I lost off of a truck when I was doing HVAC because they just couldn't handle me. They came in, they thought, I needed to be this, like, oh, the attic's hot. I'm like, play your little small fiddle and get up there. Like, I don't care. Yeah, it's hot. That's part of the job. Don't like it, shouldn't have went to school for it. It was one of those things. There's plenty of guys who walked when it came to that. So, so I'm used to that. But the subject here is, is blacksmithing and trades. You should expect what the trade is like. That's what you're getting yourself into. If you don't like kind of people who are kind of rough and gruff and kind of doing their thing, again, not being just jerks to be jerks, but if you can't handle that, then it's not the right craft for you. Take up knitting. It's just the way it is. So, but I like to take and put this out now is that I don't discriminate against no one. You want to come here, again, you want to wear feathers all day. I don't really care. That's your own business, right? You want to wear feathers and pretend you're Big Bird, you go wear feathers and you go be Big Bird. I don't care. Like, don't bring it up to me because I, again, don't care. I'm here to teach the blacksmithing side of things. Your woman, your, any color of the rainbow, any persuasion, don't care. The subject here, again, is blacksmithing. And that's the way it should be in any craft, in any trade. Enough said. Mic drop. Whether it was a good mic drop, bad mic drop, time will tell. I might just be deleted from YouTube next week. Who knows? Go on to doing something else with my life.
I'm gonna back up the chat like 10 minutes here for a moment. Charming Hollow Forge sent a $15 super chat.
Thank you, Charming.
His comment was, to all the blue collar workers that make this world go round every day, thumbs up. We are the salt of the earth people.
Amen, brother.
Also, thank you Coffee's Forge, $20 super chat said, please send my new anvil to evening folks.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Coffee, sir. You are a gentleman and a scholar, and a pleasure as always. Oh. Thank you for the super chat. Anything else?
Yes, one more. Michael Hunt said, so I am new to blacksmithing. Why do I see people put borax or something like that on the part they are forging or the other thing? Can you explain a little if you have the time? That was right next to a super chat from the Sprinkled Donut Forge who said to buy some new borax.
So borax, because what, they just sprinkle it on at random? Some people do that because they believe that it'll help clean the steel off, or which is the proper way of thinking, except it doesn't work that well when it actually doesn't work that well when it's just laying on the surface of the steel. It needs to have a joint and work through capillary action for a welded joint. The other false nomenclature is that, oh, if I pile on borax, the piece won't scale up. No, actually, it's an acidic type thing. It's an acidic reaction that happens onto the surface of the steel. It's eating away at the surface oxides, but it's still producing surface oxides, so at heat. So don't do that for that reason. But that's a lot of times you'll see people do that for those reasons. We go. Ready? Yeah. Thank you for the super chats, by the way. What's everybody think? Looking mighty nice, looking mighty fine.
I was looking at the comments to see what people were saying about it, and the first comment I saw was Rob Huff saying, Roy, having trouble finding pleather pants in my size. Not giving up yet, though. I still have a week.
Rob, go to an upholsterer. Go to somebody who does like upholstery for vehicles. They will suit you right up, pal. Get you one of those never unzip zippers. They go tick, 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 tick. You'll never come out of them suckers.
See here. Here's the comment. Debak Maker says that's looking good there.
So looking good? Yep. It's going to totally be off dimension from this, but again, like I said, it's just kind of part of that. And we may save some of this for another day too. I want to finish drawing this out. I wanted to kind of get that end forged down and bent so it kind of had the hook portion done, and then I might solve it there. Well, I won't actually get it to be bent. I'm going to take that nub on the end, and I'm going to forge that down into what will be the boss that bears against our screw to tighten things. What's up?
Yeah, I didn't get around to telling you, but it is 8 o'clock Eastern time.
Holy cow. We're over by a whole hour, ain't we? It's still daylight. Looky there. Yeah, so I'll finish this little bit and forging that out, and then we'll call that good. How many people we got in the stream?
We are at 252.
Woohoo! I didn't scare them off with the rant. Good to know. Good to know.
Somebody mentioned earlier that this saw ought to last for a couple of lifetimes.
The what?
That'll last for a couple of lifetimes. The saw.
Oh yeah, yeah, it should.
Bortkov says, looks great, but really heavy. That might be a good thing, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you haven't ever used a saw like this, they are really nice for powering through cuts. So like, it's not too uncommon to see these, like, instead of getting like the little thin, whispery thin hacksaw blades that you see, you get a lot thicker hacksaw blades that you can get for these. If you've ever seen them be used that way, they're really nice to have those the thick hacksaw blades, and with the added weight, you know, the frame doesn't flex back and forth, left or right or up or down. So all that force you put on the saw is all right into the actual blade itself. So it's really nice to work with, actually. What you got there, girl?
Rob Huff says he fully expects a group photo op.
Hey, we'll give you one. We'll give you one. Oh. Yep, front and center. Let's go to the anvil. All right. Still stretching this out. And still reducing the thickness. So it's back to more of an appropriate size. I'd like to remind everybody that everything I'm drawing out here came out of 8 inches of material. Still maintaining material thickness in that direction. I've got a bend in it, and that's all come out of 8 inches of material so far. Yep, got a little more thickness to take out of that. But I'm gonna go ahead and forge this nub down now where I need it.
Speargrass Forge said just the other week they were talking about wanting to see a hacksaw demo, so just so happens they're getting one now, huh?
Yeah. This is my first attempt at this style of hacksaw, so take that with a grain of salt, you know, as far as the instruction on it. This is one way of going about it. I'm sure there's probably other ways. Heck, I might even be told that I'm wrong for doing it this particular way. This just seems logical to me to actually make the frame. So you could do it however you like in your own shop. You could do a welded bar thing. Who says it has to be, you have to draw it all down out of one piece like this? You could just do 2 bars that you forge weld together and then draw out your thing. And that might be easier. And we might explore that again after we get this done. We might make another hacksaw, but explore a multi-bar technique. That way maybe we can have a little bit more ornateness with the main bar without having to worry about having all that material up front. We can actually forge all that in, have all that drawn out, just weld the ends together, you know, and we're good to go. So we might actually experiment with that if you guys would be interested after we get this hacksaw done. So we'll do a multi-bar hacksaw. Multiple ways to skin the same cat. Unless you're not inclined to skin cats, then. Yeah. Then you've got problems. What's up, girl?
Dana Maggiore says, Jess Elroy, that was the best rant. Me and my wife loved it.
They're going to get me in trouble someday, the rants. I don't know. They're kind of not sure if they're worth it. You know, that's the thing, because I probably just taught, it's falling on deaf ears because, you know, I'm talking to people who probably agree the same way. I mean, you're watching the channel. So, you know, and the people who usually disagree with that sentiment, they get miffed and ride their little Segway away. So, you know, there's that, you know, I mean, again, I don't, so I don't know how much value there is. It's just, you know, it's kind of just restating something that, you know, should be common knowledge, right? And just common thought process, but sometimes it is not, believe it or not. All right, we ready? But you're welcome for the rant anyhow. Glad you enjoyed it. All right, let's go to the anvil. All right, start with some back face hammer blows. Square that end up more. I hammer it straight down. Now this is the easiest way I've found to add mass to something, to the end of the bar when it's going the opposite direction. There's a little bit of a hot shut in there that I'll have to file out before I draw anything down too much more crazy. But that gives me mass in that area that I need for my wing nut. So now I'm going to go ahead and dress this up the next heat and kind of round it up more of like a ball on the end. This is one of those, I should have took Tom Latney's class on this. Tom Latney had a whole class where he did this style of hacksaw frame. And I'm sure he had a lot better method of doing this and adding mass there. You got to add enough mass there that you can then punch a square hole through. So this way the piece that you're using, it's got a square taper, you know, it's got a square tang that kind of goes through that bit, and then it's got a threaded portion. So you got to be able to, that stops the blade from spinning, going this way or that way. So it helps to stop the blade from twisting on you. This would have been easier to say that. Again, words hard. What's going on? Jokes, laughter, you're giggling.
Yes, I am the skinning the cats. They went quite a ways with that.
They went quite a way with that.
Yes, the cat skin pleather they started recommending, and then that turned into no, cat skin pleather. Making pleather, yeah. And then
I'm violating all sorts of YouTube right now.
and then Heath says it's time to make Roy a Roy rant punishment kilt out of the cat skin pleather.
I might look mighty fine. All right, this is getting hot. Let's go to the anvil. Your giggles are something else over there, girl.
I know. I can't help myself this evening.
Here, I gotta cool off this a little bit.
Okay.
So tell me what you're giggling about.
Oh, Mule Cake Forge. I had a cat, but it was a kilt. And Boar had to revive the poopery. Somebody else mentioned that early in the stream too. I just didn't say it then, but can't forget about the poopery.
Jessica's anti-poopery now. How dare you?
Daniel Crawford says, "Wingnut, I'm so offended."
Well, prepared to stay that way. Yeah, the whole thing of the offense type stuff, you know, it doesn't give you the right to be just a downright jerk to people, you know. I mean, that's kind of the borderline, right? You know, you should be conscientious somewhat to a degree of, you know, those around you. Kind of like just, you know, just have normal conversation. Find people out first, you know, before you know, figure out what other people are about. Get the whole scope of the story before you just jump in on them and attack because they said something against your ancestry or something that, who knows, they don't know any better, right? And you don't know them any better, so. What's up, girl?
I'm sorry, it's the cat jokes. Sprinkled Donut Forge says, I have an ancient shop cat, not sure what color it used to be.
They're bad. So I'm going to take this and lock this off in the vise. Now that I've got a nice waist in it, I can then upset and push that material more and get it more round. I want this to be a lot more round than what it is right now. Right now we've got more of a wedge shape to it. That's okay, but I'd like to have some more shouldering to it. So to the vise we go, nice and hot, like really hot. Bit in the vise here. A vise is sometimes the most underrated tool in a blacksmith shop. We always talk about anvils and things like that. Sometimes certain work, you'll spend tons and tons of hours at the vise. Hopefully you guys can see that, how that's coming out. There's a little cold shut in here that I'm gonna have to file out, sand out. It's okay, I need to reduce this thickness a little bit more in this direction, in here, and right in this corner, but we'll wait for another time to do that. So there's the first stages. I'll deprive you all of the second bin until I can get this. It's just gonna be more drawing out. This stream's went pretty long, so I've got to draw this thickness out a little bit more and clean that up, that area that's got a small cold shut there on the corner, if they can see that.
Nice. It's come a long way from the last 3 hours and 15 minutes.
Hey, that's 3 hours, 15 minutes with 2 giveaways and, well, with an anvil given away and everything. So it's not too bad. Go with the main cam. That's not too bad, huh?
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
Yeah. It's not going to come out as long because it went up a little higher with this part, but that might get upset more. I might upset that more and it'll take it out that way a bit. I probably will. I'll heat this whole area up and thicken that area back a bit more so it's a little bit more appropriate to what I'm looking for. So it won't be that long, but I said that at the beginning, it'd be a little smaller in width, which is okay for the first one. Mental note, not enough material. So next time, I'll probably add say 2 inches more material, 2.5 inches more material to this piece, at least. And that should get me the full length there. I should have started with a little bit more material. Again, I didn't want this thing to be like gargantuan long. So that this is where one of those deals I could have like, oh, I mean, it's clear out here. It's clearly going to be too long. Whop, you could just cut it off and then you would have that extra mass. So that kind of illustrates that perfectly. Inside the crook here, there's a lot of adjusting that needs to happen. So like this needs to get more square, but like I said, we're going to upset this corner more. That's going to get upsetted more, and then the thickness is going to get drawn down out of this a bit. You know, it's a little thin here in the corner. I'm going to match the thickness of the corner here after it's all said and done to the rest of the bar, and then that'll get bent at a 90, and then I'll have a hacksaw frame like that. Then we'll flip it around. So next live stream, expect to do the next portion of this. So the next live stream, we'll do the next portion of this. Depending on how far we get with that, time, energy, we may actually go ahead and forge the wing nut that is going to become this portion here, and we'll probably punch the hole for this. I'll save the bending and everything. So we'll get this bent next live stream. We'll draw out the tang for the handle, and then maybe forge the wing nut, and that'll be the next live stream. So that's a lot of work. That's a lot of progress in just 3 hours of doing with giveaways and everything else. I would have liked to took a little bit more time with this corner and just took more time to make it tidier in the stream. But so I'm going to do that off stream. I'm just going to tidy up this corner. It's just going to be more of the same like doing an upset square corner. I'm just going to drive more material this way, drive more material that way, so on, so forth, so on, so forth. So it's just going to be a lot of back and forth until I get it to the way I like it. And perpendicular and nice and square. Like I want it to be nice and square and perpendicular to the frame. That way when I work on this portion here, this place is all locked in and looking good. So, all right, so I'm going to set that off the side. Thank you all for watching this stream. I don't know who all we have here. Do I need to answer any comments or questions or complaints?
Mule Kick Forge says, thanks for the live stream, Roy and Jess.
Hey, very welcome, Mule Kick Forge. Thank you for being here. I hope you all enjoyed it. Sorry it went way longer than I expected, but that's okay. We had a lot of stuff to do, a lot of stuff to give away, a lot of things to happen. But I think it was pretty fun.
It was, yeah.
Roy's big rant about probably stuff that shouldn't matter. Right? Oh. Whew. Quick question before everybody leaves. Who else thinks I'm fat in this shirt? This shirt makes me look fat, don't it?
Well, that's a random question.
Just put a random question out there. People are like, you're way fat. You ask for honesty, people are going to give you everything.
Well, earlier during the rant, a little side comment started on cookies. So,
Yeah, I've eaten one too many cookies. I've won one too many prizes.
thank you, Brute Lemon. $5 for the road.
Thank you, Brute Lemon.
And thank you also, Michael Hunt, for the $10 super chat.
Hey, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. God bless you all. Greatly appreciate it. So some things, just some real quick channel updates for the channel. What I'll be doing, what you can be expecting. I will be continuing on. There's a series right now going on. I've already shot all the videos, so they're releasing one at a time, coming out in succession. A whole fundamentals series and playlist, so it'll all be linked up in a playlist. If you haven't been watching the videos lately, you should. They kind of build upon each other. There's a build upon each other for skill level. So go back and watch the very first one and watch them all the way through to take and help build up to the further ones that will be coming on next. So there'll be a lot more coming in. We'll delve into scroll work, collars. We've already done rivet work a little bit. They're very short, and I've kept them very short just because I wanted to illustrate a very specific point about the process, not all the nuances. Like riveting, you can get into a deep dive. That'd be a 12-hour long thing and probably still not cover all the different nuanced things of rivet work. So it's shot, so I've done it from the instructing point of trying to get you a real quick introduction to it so you have a very base knowledge in those sort of things. So follow along in those fundamentals. There's going to be a lot more coming out for that. After that, there'll be some new exciting content that I'm hoping that'll go well, and we'll see how everybody likes it after those videos. Of course, I've said that a couple times in my career here on YouTube, and then I've neglected to do so. But I've got one video I'm putting together in the tank, and I'll have another one going on that I think people will like. I think people will like. It'll be a little bit different than what I've been doing with tutorials and things like that, but still ultimately informative. So I hope you guys will like those videos. So keep you updated along the way. We'll see what we do and see what we get on with. But those won't be quite right after all the fundamentals. I might shoot a few more fundamental videos that I want to add to the list to go in the pot. Hopefully people have been liking those. I mean to shoot a couple more blacksmith question of the days. Haven't done those in a while to answer a bunch of people's questions about the fundamental videos. And but yeah, so you can expect all that type of content here in the future. And yeah, thank you all so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sitting put. How many people we have in the stream this long? It's probably jumped off.
239.
Phew, you guys are troopers. You all are champs, absolute champs. So thank you. Thank you all for being here. Greatly appreciate it. It means a lot to Jessica and I. Thank you to all the super chatters for all the support, for all the shipping, and for the Anvil giveaway. Greatly appreciate you all. Couldn't do it without you. Honest God's truth. So thank you all very much. We'll make sure we put your name in lights on the next live stream. And is that it? Any other questions I got to answer? Or are we good to go? Comments?
Everybody's just kind of wishing us a good evening and saying, Chad says thanks for all the videos and the tips you do. And Chris Barbie, thank you, Roy and Jess, for another great show.
Very welcome. Very welcome. So, no one said anything about whether I look fat in this shirt, huh?
Oh, they did. They commented.
Her face is priceless. She's like, oh, they did. They did. Big time. They're like, he's a huge one.
Todd Good said, it's a bigger gas tank for your love machine.
Ah, that's what it is. Heck yeah. There you go. I wish we could play like sound bites when do that, like keep those, because that'd be a perfect one. That song, I'm a love machine. Yeah. It's copyrighted. Won't say it on here because then I'll get struck. So strike me down, YouTube. All right. We better get out of here before it gets crazy. Good. Hey, thank you all so much for being here. God bless each and every last one of you this week. I really hope everybody has a great week, great weekend. And yeah, until next time, we'll catch you later. Thanks for being here. Bye.